I'm going to jump on my phone so I can respond and engage.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Tim and Julian here from Advanced Agent Marketing. We got something special in store for you guys today. We're going to be breaking down some crazy stuff as far as how Julian's been able to write 10K in the last week and actually doing that pretty consistently, writing about a policy every single day. He looks pretty nonchalant about it, but, I'm going to kind of just let him spill all the secrets, and we got a presentation prepared for you guys, kind of diving into everything, showing you guys the system that we have created to do that, and really just kind of like diving down and dissecting the different parts and components that allow us to do that. Julian, words?
Words to add. I would say like one of the biggest things, I might throw in a light here. Can you guys see me okay? Is the lighting okay here?
I can see you fine.
Okay, let me know if that changes because the sun's going down here. But I'm just working off sunlight right now. But anyways, yeah, I mean,
Preston, what's going on, brother?
Hey, Preston. I don't want to take too much credit, and I also don't want to pat myself too much on the back. A little bit of like an oxymoron there. But first, Tim, it is 1 to 2 policies a day. It's not only one policy, but I have to say it's not me, right? Because I've been doing this business for a long time, and while I would say that my sales skills have developed over time, I don't really think that my sales skills have actually changed that much from the time that I first knocked on a door. My industry knowledge has vastly grown over that time. So I have learned a lot. I know how to do things that I didn't know how to do. Like I now know what underwriting is. I know how to get a policy approved, how to get it through. I know, how to do replacements, all these things that I didn't understand before. But the biggest thing that is really contributing to this success is the system that we've got set up here. Because I can go out and
I'm going to stop you right there. First off, we got 2 minutes till we're about to get started, guys. So we're kind of just, passing the ball back and forth, whatever for the next minute or so here. But Julian's just totally lying. His sales skills have definitely improved, and he's just trying to deflect credit, it's okay, but it's definitely not accurate. So
it's a nice sweatshirt.
Just wanted to throw that in there.
Well,
we're getting started in 2 minutes, guys. So get pumped.
But yeah, I have had, honestly though, like just talking about writing, 1, 2, 3 policies a day, even the 3 policy a day is rare right now. It's happening, but it's not as common as I want it to be. What I have found is that like the biggest thing is not that it's not that it takes so much work to get it done. Right. I'm not putting in any more work. I think I'm actually putting in technically less work, but I've got higher talk time. Right. So like, despite the fact that like when I first started out in this business, I was knocking 40, 60, 80 doors a day. And like I was, when I first started calling, I was cranking out 300, 400, 500 dials a day. I've got that down now to where I still am in the 300 dial a day mark. That seems to be a pretty like fair 8-hour workday. Sometimes because of my talk time, I made 18 dials and got 2 apps off today. I think I'm like 2,200 for the day. It might be more. I have to look. But it's like literally just putting in the effort, putting in the time to learn the sales side, as well as like just developing the front end of getting the right people in front of you is really it.
100%. Well, the clock has struck 7. I say we go ahead and jump on into everything here. I see we got 21 people here in the chat. As you guys are joining, just drop your name and where you're coming in from, and we'll give you a little shout out here on the live. But yeah, without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump on right into it. So basically what we're going to be talking about here is the exact system that when I say we, I mean Julian, because he's the one selling, used to write $10,259 in AP last week. And then we're also going to be talking about how you can plug into the system to make 6 figures without actually having to buy leads. So as I wait for some of these comments to come in, I'm waiting to shout you guys out. I just want to scream your name across the live. So go ahead and drop down below. But before we kind of jump in everything, I do want to give a results disclaimer just because it's very important to do that and not, blow expectations, set them super crazy high or anything, like that and that kind of thing. But basically, like, just because you use our system does not mean that you will make 6 figures. Like, if you come and work with us, and you start using the system that we've created, you're not guaranteed to make six figures. You still have to work your ass off. You still have to, do all the work, the activity. You heard Julian talking about making $300 a day. This is not just like a get rich quick or, jump into it and immediately you're going to make money. Like, it's a system that works and that's set up for success, but you do still have to add that, extra oomph into it that really gets there. Like, our first year, we only made $20,000. That was $20,000 each. So it was a pretty brutal start off to our insurance career. And when we first started, like, our whole goal was we just want to make six figures, right? But in reality, when you really break it out, making six figures in the insurance business is not that crazy. It really just breaks out to like $400 a day, right? So we've been doing this for almost 3 years. At this point, we're crossing that mark, but it comes with the hard work and everything. So I just want to kind of like set that expectation there before we jump into everything. So we got some people here in the comments. I got Lisa from New York. What's going on, Lisa? I got Vicky from Tennessee. Kathy Martell, going way back. How's it going? From Arizona. What's going on, Kathy? But let's go ahead and dive right into everything. So who is this for? Who is this training for that we're about to kind of go through? It's for telesales agents, agents who are tired of buying leads, and final expense agents, right? That's what we're mainly going to be talking about here because that's what we primarily sell, right? Is we sell over the phone, we sell final expense. So these are the people that this is going to be the most valuable for. So our goal for this, web class, live stream, whatever you want to call it. One, we're going to talk about how to get prospects that are begging to buy. Two, we're going to talk about the secret to writing at least one policy per day. Obviously, you guys kind of heard Julian talking about it. Julian, how crazy would it have been 3 years ago if we would have known that we would be writing about a policy a day over the phone? Like, we were barely even doing that face-to-face, 12 hours a day in the field.
Yeah. Between drive time and everything, I was sleeping like 4 to 5 hours a night during the week. It was like mostly at hotels. And especially to be able to do that and work from home, I would have probably quit working there. Or, at the time I had quit my job to go and do that opportunity. So had I presented this opportunity, like being able to do what I'm doing right now, I don't know how more extreme I could get. I would have quit my job, moved across the country. Pretty much you could have asked me to do almost anything. I would have done. I would have walked from North Carolina out to Arizona. So like, it's pretty much anything.
100%. So that's going to be the second thing we're going to touch on, like the formula we're using to write at least about a policy a day, and then also how you can make six figures without buying leads. So let's jump right on into it. We're going to be talking about what is Zoosurance, which is basically, if you guys have seen the emails we've been putting out and some of the YouTube videos we've been posting, we are launching an agency called Zoosurance. So we're going to talk about what that is, how that whole thing works, and then also how you can achieve your personal and financial goals without risking thousands of dollars on leads. Let me catch up to some of these comments here. I see Arthur from Sarasota, Florida. What's going on, Arthur? James Studnicka, how's it going? And Gerardo from Texas. What's going on, everybody? So quick background on us, if this is your first time tuning in. I'm Tim. The other guy below me is Julian. Basically, we've been in the insurance industry for the last 3 years or so. We've been able to work with some of the, biggest names in the industry like David Duford. We've been on his channel a bunch of times, done some cool stuff with him. Also, Cody Askins, been on his channel, done some work with him as well. We got a pretty big Facebook group, and then obviously this YouTube channel here where we put out value and basically help agents make six figures over the phone. So when we first got started, we were at the top leaderboard at our IMO, but we were working these, gift card leads that were just absolutely terrible. We got a ton of chargebacks. We were selling a bunch of business, but weren't really actually making any money. It was a pretty tough time there. But, I'll kind of let Julian touch on where he first kind of started out getting into the industry, and then how he kind of got into the whole game here.
What's up, Scott? I guess Ed. That was confusing. But yeah, I came in from being a waiter, working at a fine dine restaurant. That's actually an NFL player that I met. This guy ate like $400 worth of food because the food was like this big, like fine dine restaurants is. And so, yeah, I was just waiting tables, got picked up and recruited, and ended up kind of coming to the business. That's me. I sent that Snapchat to some girl I was talking to at the time, and Was just trying to look cute. Didn't really end up going anywhere. But anyways, I got into the business and I just wanted to be financially free. Literally all I wanted was to, I mean, it wasn't even about working. Like a lot of people are like, I just don't want to have a job or I don't want to work. Like, yeah, I didn't want to work for someone, but I enjoy working and being productive and adding value to society. For me, it was just not wanting to like live as a slave from paycheck to paycheck. Or so for some people, it's, they basically are working to pay off student loans. So they're like more or less paying off the debt that they accumulated from living the college experience. Some people it's cars or houses, and I just didn't want that. These are the leads that we were working. This was kind of some of the biggest reasons we faced a lot of chargebacks. Most people just saw it was free Walmart gift card. They filled it out. We showed up. They got the gift card. I literally had one lady cancel her application after I drove an hour back to give her the gift card. And I was young and naive thinking that was a high level of service, but it turned into a chargeback. So I'll let Tim touch more on this because, I mean, it's pretty obvious we needed better leads, but he's the one generating them. So I don't want to take anything away from that.
Yeah. So basically, kind of deep in the throes of this opportunity that we were in, we were like, all right, what's the actual problem that we're facing here? And it wasn't like that we weren't able to sell. It wasn't that we weren't like getting out there and getting after it. It was just like the leads that we had were just so crap. So we were taking lower comp to get these free leads. And then the leads would be like so far away from our house and they would suck. It was just total nightmare. So like, all right, how do we solve this? Let's get some better leads, right? I'm sure a lot of you guys can probably relate to that. Like, if I could just have better leads, this would be so much easier. So we had the idea like, all right, why don't we just create our own leads, which was a rabbit hole that we didn't really know what we were getting into, but we were like, all right, this is the answer. This is the solution to our problem. The only problem with that solution to the problem is it presented another problem, which was we had absolutely no idea what the hell we were doing. So we just got to work, studied and tested like crazy. I mean, we probably spent a few $1,000s just in the beginning when we really didn't really have the money, just try to figure out something that would produce leads. Then we finally got something that was, generating us leads, but they were crappy quality leads. And it was a whole process. Basically, I'll save you guys all the details, but in between then and now, we spent thousands of dollars on marketing and, coaching programs and courses and different things like that. I think the total that we got to in the last year was like $75,000 we spent on courses. And that's like all feeding into this like marketing knowledge base that we're trying to build so that we can produce better leads, right? So a lot of stuff kind of went into it. And now, we've been able to create a system that predictably produces a policy every single day. This was $30,000 in a month with leads that we generated. We've also been able to help a bunch of other agents by teaching them to generate their own leads and different things like that, right? So after 3 years of doing this thing the hard way, we got into the business in 2021. After 3 years, we kind of discovered like the hard way of doing things, which if you've been struggling selling, this is probably why, right? Because ultimately the system that you're working, most of you guys are working, it wasn't really designed for you to succeed. And I'll kind of touch on what the hard way actually looks like. Julian, you can probably remember this door here to the right. This was actually a door that we went to in somewhere in North Carolina. I think it was Halifax County. And I don't know if you guys can see there, but there's actually vomit on the front of the door.
He's still
right
in the
here. Yeah, he's still in the books. The guy ended up buying a policy, but basically we would have to knock on doors, dial until our fingernails bleed. You guys can probably relate to this. How many of you guys have made 500 dials in a day and just gotten no business? It's absolutely insane.
I had a what was it? I had a paint stain on my knuckle right here because I always knocked the cop knock every time. So it was like,
yeah.
And it was like literally white after I stopped knocking doors for 3 additional months. It was like calloused and white. So, I mean, if you guys have been on that, comment down below, door knock, if you guys have ever experienced the white knuckles from the paint.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think there's probably more people than you would expect that will be commenting that.
Literally.
Recruiting agents to a broken system, right? Like you're doing this thing, maybe you're writing business, but you're not really making money. And that your upline's like, hey, you need to bring more people into this. Wasting thousands of dollars on overpriced leads, right? I know so many agents can relate to this. I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate to this. Like How many of you have wasted thousands of dollars on overpriced leads that just haven't really turned into anything? It's very, very common. Empty promises from the IMO, all kinds of, just totally like promising something and it doesn't really work out. And then also, this is like super common, especially nowadays, but it's becoming illegal, is calling these leads that have already spoken to thousands of other agents, right? Like a lot of these IMOs will give you these, cheap leads that are supposed to be great, but they've literally been called by like 15 other people the same day. It's absolutely insane, right? So the cost, this results in thousands of dollars being wasted and hundreds of hours being wasted. It's just a complete and utter nightmare, right? So with that being said, this is the three things that we're going to touch on today. And I kind of covered them earlier, but basically we're going to talk about how we get prospects that are begging to buy insurance from us, how to write at least one policy per day, and how you can make 6 figures without buying leads. You guys ready to jump into this? Awesome. So let's get started here with secret number 1, which is how we get prospects that are begging to buy. And guys, this is literally the exact system. Like we're about to be revealing what we do, how we structure this whole thing, how this all works. This resulted in, $10,000 of premium in the past week and, pretty consistently having 10K weeks. So secret number 1. So I'll kind of take you guys back. There was a time where we were like, all right, how do we just generate an absolute, massive volume of leads, just a total flood of leads? And it was like, all right, how do we do this? Well, I'll spare you guys the entire like story in between, but basically we ended up figuring it out. So this is leads right here, and this is Julian, and he just got absolutely tsunamied with leads. We had so many leads coming in that, he couldn't even handle them all. We're talking 40, 50 leads every single day. The CRM pipeline just stacking up. And maybe some of you guys can relate to something like this. Maybe not. I know if you're buying leads, it'd be extremely expensive. If you ever generated leads, you might have, realized that. But the problem was we were getting all of these leads, but we were blending in with the zombie horde. You guys have any idea what I mean when I say the zombie horde? Because I don't know of anyone else that has used like this particular terminology. So I want to kind of break it down for you guys. But basically, the zombie horde is all of the insurance agents. A lot of you guys on this call, you guys are blending into the zombie horde. I hate to break it to you, but it's not really your fault. I'll explain why. But all agents have the exact same offer, right? Like think about it. When you call Miss Jones, what are you offering Miss Jones? I'm going to give you a quote and then I'm going to help you apply. Like it's all the exact same thing, right? And they get hundreds of calls from all these people that sound the exact same as you. And, maybe you think you're special, you're better customer service. That's awesome. They don't know that and they don't really care because there's no way for them to tell that from the phone call. But they're getting calls from all of these people that are all offering the same thing. Hey, get a quote. Hey, hit us up. We're going to help you get coverage, whatever. And nobody's offering them any value. They just want to, pick them apart bit by bit, take their social security check. Like it is a total nightmare, right? And most agents just blend into the zombie horde. So problem was like these prospects, we were getting all these leads, but they were annoyed at us, right? Like we were basically just another zombie agent, like, oh, sign up, whatever. Like it's the exact same thing from every single person. And we decided that we had to change. So, we were getting all these leads, we were profitable, but like there was something missing, right? There has to be a better way to do this. How many of you guys have felt like that? Like you're getting a high volume of leads, you're profitable, but like you're like, there has to be a better way. I'd see Julian's like waving his hands like he's about to get rescued out in the middle of the ocean, but
out of the horde, out of the zombie horde, that's what I'm getting rescued out of.
Yeah, for real. Like that scene from World War Z where he's just like climbing on the helicopter. He just jumps out. Literally. But yeah, I mean, basically the way that we've realized you have to do this is you basically have to stand out and target people in pain, right? So basically what I mean by that is like we have to target people that have a specific need for life insurance, where they have some specific pain point as to why they can't get it, right? If you're just offering every single person, get a quote, like you're blending in with everyone else. So we started making these ads that targeted people who had a specific need for life insurance, a specific pain point. And let's just say it started working pretty well, right? Julian, this was literally just last week. This was posted in the what group did you post this in?
Probably school. I don't even know.
Yeah, Duford's school group, right? 10,259 in AP.
Yeah, I don't even know.
This is another week in September. What did you say?
I said I don't even know how you found that. I think I posted that like today.
Yeah, I'm on it, bro. What can I say? I scour the market. But yeah, so this was a week in September, 8621, second on the leaderboards. All of these sales have come from this method, just peppering the Slack message in our company. And this is our internal spreadsheet just from last week. These are all from last week, right? So as you guys can see, like this new switch, this new shift, this new method has just absolutely knocked it out of the park. And we actually saw a 9x higher closing percentage on this particular type of lead where we're targeting people in pain who are in demand versus just targeting and blending into the zombie agent, right? So imagine, right, if you're an agent right now and you're doing well on, call it the normal leads, the leads that most people are working, the gimmick leads, right, the gift card leads like we worked, the get a quote leads, I call them the 3Gs, the gimmick ones, like your child safety kits, your get a quote, your gift card. How many of you guys have worked get a quote or gift card leads, right? The get a quote is like the best lead out there for most people. It's insane. So if you are doing well on those type of leads, imagine how much you could actually sell if you're targeting people or talking to people that are in pain, right? They actually are in demand for life insurance. Yeah, 100%. Madri says he sold the gimmick leads, 100%. So once we kind of figure this out, we're like, all right, cool. So now that we're targeting people that are in pain, how can we optimize our time better? How can we, instead of just chasing people all day, how can we kind of get people to come towards us? How do we stand out from the zombie horde and not just be another telemarketer? Because nobody wants to be another telemarketer. How many of you guys feel like you're, just another telemarketer calling these people? Like, this is your senior right here. Everyone around them is the agents that are just constantly just telephonically terrorizing these people 24 hours a day, or not 24, but every single hour of TCPA, they're just getting telephonically terrorized. It's a total nightmare. So what if there was a way where we could build rapport before we even speak to these people, right? They already know, like, and trust us. There's already some kind of rapport. What if we could do that before we even spoke with them? Well, turns out that you can. And essentially the way that you do that is with email marketing and content, right? Like YouTube videos, like sending them emails with genuine value, right? And so essentially what we've been able to do and what we've created is a system where we're able to email our leads, and we basically build up a list over time because nobody actually emails their leads. Email is the most profitable form of marketing, and nobody does it. So we started emailing our leads. We email them content. We email them to get them to book an appointment. We do all of these things. We send them videos, whatever. So they basically already know, like, and trust our brand before they talk to us. So we got these videos to nurture the leads. This is one I filmed, and basically I'm just talking about, like, valuable things that they would need to know before they buy insurance. And so by the time they jump on the call, they already kind of gone through this process. They already are, a little bit nurtured and warmed up. Now you may be thinking while you're watching this, like, that sounds like an absolute ton of work, right? Who is thinking like, oh my God, I don't want to film videos and make email automations. I just want to sell policies. Yeah. And I mean, at the end of the day, it is a lot of work. It 100% is a lot of work. But the thing is, it's work that needs doing. If you're going to stand out from the zombie horde of agents, which if you're just blended in with the pack, you're not going to make as much money. You're not going to be able to serve as many people and help as many families. Like you're literally just blending in with everybody else. You have nothing that differentiates you. Julian, go ahead.
I was going to say chargebacks. You got guys like me that are replacing your business because I've been doing it for longer. I mean, or you've got the guys that are replacing your business that shouldn't be replacing your business, right? And that's just the world you're going to live in when you're in the zombie horde. I've been there. I've been in the zombie horde, clawing my way through it. So I mean, I know.
Yeah. Yeah, chargebacks is 100% a good point. And so, like, if you're not standing out, it's a tough way to do business. I'll just be totally honest with you guys. So it's work that ultimately needs doing. And so there's a couple ways you can do it. There's really two. You can either do it yourself, which basically involves becoming a marketer, setting all the email stuff up, or buying something that sets it up, whatever. Or you can basically partner with somebody who already has done it, right? And see. Yeah, so you can either partner with someone or do it yourself. So those are kind of your two options. So that's secret number one. Just to kind of recap again, the ultimate way to get people to beg you is you want to target people in pain. So those are people that have an actual demand or a need for life insurance, like a trucker or a cop or somebody that like has a dangerous job or is sick or in need, something like that. And then the second part is like really focusing on the content and the email follow-up and the nurture. Those are the two biggest keys to get people to come to you begging to do business with you. So secret number two, and this is the secret to writing at least one policy a day. Now, I actually have not been the one doing this. I've been doing all the back-end stuff. We're basically like a two-man team. I say I'm Robin and he's Batman, and I just try to be the best Robin I can be. So I'll let Julian touch on this here. How can we write one policy per day?
I mean, I've found a few keys to writing one app a day plus, but it's really just coming down to that guy's tattoo is pretty dope. A few things, which is like most people in this business are like they're like productively procrastinating. I heard that earlier on like a podcast, and I was like, whoa, that's pretty solid. It's like I'm sitting here, I'm thinking about making dials, or like I'm making dials, but there's a 60-second break in between the next one. Right. And so I'm talking about like hitting 200 or 300 dials per day, which if you're not getting any answers, you're blending in with the zombie horde. That's like really easy because no one's going to pick up because your system is, more or less in the garbage can. I'm not playing anyone's system. I'm telling you guys this from personal experience because I started there. I remember when I was showing up as spam likely, I was calling from one phone number. I didn't know like any of this things that I know now. So like, it's really easy though.
Julian, what would you say to the person that's like, how am I going to make $300 a day if I'm like calling like this?
I would say that you can't.
Dial pad.
I would say, I mean, you probably can, but I'd say stop and get a CRM. And I know guys that make money doing that too. It's not like you can't. It's just like, why would you still dig a hole with a shovel when you could just use like a tractor? It doesn't make sense. So, a lot of people ask like, that's a lot of calling. Like, won't that take too long? Like, it's just so much work. Like you can literally use a multi-line dialer. And when I say that you're calling 200 or 300 times, like you're still clicking the button 200 or 300 times and listening to that ring for 30 seconds over. But if you multiply 300 times 30 seconds per dial, it's actually really not that much. And so most of your time should be spent talking on the phone, which is why you're not making more dials. Right. And so like I go back to the example from today. I wrote 2 apps in 18 phone calls. Granted, I got to give a lot of credit to Robin up here because Batman's in the streets, but without the Batmobile and without my freaking suit, I'd be toast. I'd be like every other thug on the street. You know what I mean? So it's very helpful to have a system that supports this. But because I'm spending most of my time on the phone, I'm not dialing 500, 600, 700 dials a day, which is just full-time effort. All right, do the math. 300 dials, 30 seconds each. If you guys are working 8 hours a day and you're not hitting 300 dials a day, there's probably a gap in your productivity.
I'm curious. I want to kind of conduct a little survey here of everyone that's watching. How many of you guys are using a multi-line dialer? And if you aren't, comment the way that you're dialing. Like, are you dialing on your dial pad with your like, are you knuckle dialing as they call it? Are you using dialing from your CRM, or are you using like a multi-line dialer that wraps your number with local area codes? And I really want to share that with you guys, because if you like only take away one thing from this presentation, I can put you guys onto a absolutely monster software that will just completely change and revolutionize the way you guys call. So comment down below. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I started off like, I know a lot of people on here are probably like a little more old school, like how I started in sales, where you like pick up the phone off of the hook and you thought you were killing the game by pressing the little hang up button without putting the phone down to dial again. Was anybody on that? I mean, I like cord on the phone. It's plugged into the wall. You're pressing the little hang up button and you think, man, I'm saving so much time because I got this phone right here and I'm clicking the hang up. I'm not having to put it down. You know what I'm saying? You're dialing it out. If anybody was on that one, I would love to hear about that. But
Yeah, for real.
Dialer from CRM. What dialer and CRM are you using? The crazy part is I actually don't even get to use the multi-line dialer as much because I'm stuck in conversation so much all day. It gets that.
Yeah.
That's where we're at right now. What dialer and CRM do we use? Should we tell them, Tim?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Why don't you share the wealth?
Yeah, so we okay, so was using Mojo, just switched over to Kixie. Awesome. So yeah, Preston's got it. So basically what we use is it's called Kixie. And so essentially what that is it's a multi-line dialer where you can call up to 10 numbers at the same time, which I don't recommend because you'll blow through your leads pretty fast. But basically you're able to call up to 10 numbers at a time. We usually stick with the 2 to 3. And it locally wraps all of your numbers. So if I call somebody in a 480, which is the Phoenix area code, my number is going to show up with 480. So that in itself has just that has put our production on crack, to be completely honest with you guys. It's just blown everything up and just magnified it. So if you only take one thing away from this presentation, go sign up for Kixie. Highly recommend it. But yeah, let's kind of jump on here. You guys might be saying that sounds crazy expensive. How am I gonna, what would a software like that cost? It's $150 a month. And if you're saying that sounds crazy expensive, if you do it on your own, it's totally worth it. If you end up working with us, we actually will cover the entire cost of the dialer for you, so it's not something you have to pay for out of pocket. Julian, what's the number 2 key of selling a policy a day?
Well, first is going to be it's kind of like two little components here. Component number 1 is going to be consulting. So, like a lot of people I've noticed, and I've done this myself. So I it's one of those things that you just kick yourself. Sometimes you'll slip into it by just getting lazy, and you'll notice this. Even the top guys in the industry do it, right? And it's where you start calling people and you just start trying to get them to buy your product. A lot of people call this commission breath. A lot of people call this jumping the gun and being a pushy salesperson. That's what you'll hear a lot of prospects call it, is being pushy, right? And that's when you're more or less completely avoiding asking them about their problem and solving it, which is what you want to do when you're trying to sell this insurance. So instead of saying hey, Tim, just calling you to get you a quote and qualify you and see if you qualify and get you approved and you fill out an application. Whoa. That's zombie horde mentality right there. What we're trying to do is hey, Tim, just wanted to give you a ring real quick. Saw your request. What are you actually trying to do here? Why are you even looking into insurance? Why is this important to you? Why do you think that you even need this? Some people don't. Do you need it? Oh, really? You do? Why? You know what I mean? And you ask them these questions that I want them to sell me. I don't want to sell them. Because if I got to tell you why you need insurance all day long, then you're probably not going to get the insurance, right? I'm talking to the wrong people. I'm back on zombie horde. Like the used car salesman went to their house. Yeah, you don't want to do that. Okay. But yeah, exactly.
What do you think about this is something you and I have talked about, is going for the review instead of going for the sale?
That's a really good one. And I'm actually, if you guys see me if you guys see me looking at my screen, I promise I'm not texting and living. I'm actually trying to answer comments or whatever it is, because I see a lot of people coming around here. So one of the things that I kind of realized is that especially when you're producing at a high level, I've been producing at a high level under the umbrella of Advanced Agent Marketing and Jet Financial Group for a while now. I've contributed a lot in the direct one-to-one sales for the company. As a producer, I've produced a lot of the revenue. And in that, I've found that when you bring the attitude that, hey, I'm going to offer this person as much value as possible, and I'm going to just try to give them service worthy of them leaving me a review, versus just let me get the deal, shove it down their throat, cram it down their face. Let's just get it done. get their banking, get their credit card. Like, no, if you guys come at it with that angle, like that's where you start alienating buyers. I've had phone calls where I've had people quite literally throw their card out or pull out their check and like whatever it is. Like sometimes people don't know, like, hey, I need to, actually use a checkbook, right? Versus like a card. They'll just like, I'll hear a card hit the floor or like the table, and they'll just be like, how do I sign up? And they're just so thankful that someone's willing to like explain things to them. And like I had a lady earlier, she's like, I don't even know what term life insurance is, but I see all these things about $1 million. Can I get $1 million? And while it seems basic to answer that question and dive deeper into that, explain the contrast between the types of life insurance, why that matters, how it affects her, which one she needs, and why, based off of what she's trying to do, and then customizing a plan for her problem based off of like what her finances are and what she actually needs. Like you don't need to oversell the insurance. Get them as much coverage as they want. Like more power to you. Obviously, like if you can get an upsell and stuff, it's great. But a client is going to enjoy my presence more and be more willing to refer me business if instead of trying to get them to do the accidental death and dismemberment rider for an extra $2, $3 a month, that hey, they're like, yeah, I need 100,000. Like, what are you actually getting? I just need a cremation, direct cremation. Do you even know how much that is? What do you need 100,000 for? You'd end up like, that's your whole social security check. They're like, oh my God, I didn't know that. Right. So just, going for the review. I got passionate about that. I'm sorry.
No, it's good. It's good.
But yeah, automation. If you guys are not sending automations out to your leads, you're a clown. I know that because I've been a clown, right? And so, guys, whenever I'm saying this stuff, like, "Hey, you guys are clowning. You're making massive error." I'm speaking from experience. I've done the hand dial, right? That was a very short-lived thing, and I'm glad it was. I've done this, right? That was also short-lived, thank God. And I've also done the one number, the no automation, the no email, the no text. And guys, this is like in today's day and age, we're living in 2024. This is basic stuff. This is like door knocking.
Prospects will want to text you back. Like,
yeah,
you have to monitor the text too, because you'll get people that'll just respond and be like, hey, I'm looking for this, 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 and this. Please just text me. I've gotten 15,000 calls today.
Yeah. And I actually, I had to go through and clear out. We've got so many people coming into our Zoosurance CRM right now. So many interested buyers. I had 412 messages and I was trying to clean them out before this call. So I didn't end up writing an application in the middle of this live that I had to show up for. So I'm literally having to not write I'm trying not to write an application prior to getting on here because I'm like, oh my God, like Tim got me on the phone. I'm getting callbacks. Like people, hey, how do you know what's the quote? I want to get it. I'm like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's out of control.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane. But yeah, the automation is like, it's like the silent like assistant that works in the background for you and just like nurtures these people over time. And like, you guys may be saying that and like, okay, how the hell am I going to set up all of these, automations and this and that and blah, blah. Like, I just want to sell policies. I don't want to learn email marketing and automations and all this like crazy stuff that goes into it. And yeah, I hear you. If you end up being an agent at Zoosurance, we literally handle all that stuff. We're always, split testing, optimizing, seeing what gets the most text back, seeing what emails get open the most. Like, we're optimizing all this stuff in the back end so that, agents like Julian can just like full blown sell. All right, Julian, you want to touch on this one? I think you're very passionate about this.
Hold on. I'm messaging Preston back. I'll actually just respond. Yeah, I got ladies in my 80s running up text messages and e-signatures. So it's, older people are like, they're not like, tech is not old anymore. You know what I mean? Computers are not the size of a school building anymore. So, exactly right.
Side note, bro, you don't have to comment back. You can just speak out loud.
Well, if you're talking, I don't want to interrupt. So I like to make sure I can be in both scenarios at the same time. But, volume, this is the next like pillar or key of being successful. Guys, I'm getting like 50 leads a day right now. And I actually texted Tim in the middle of this live with an idea that I have for me to be able to work those leads even better. Because honestly, I think that's too few. If you don't have more leads than time, if you're not drowning in leads and clawing your way out, trying to survive from the sheer demand that your business has created, you guys are running on fumes in your business because business is just a vehicle And if you're running on fumes on your way to the gas station, at some point you're going to run out of gas. And with the way that we're doing things here with the Zoosurance, I guess, funnel, I don't even know what you want to call it, but just generating these leads, having them come in, you need at least 50 a day as an agent, or you're just not going to get the results that you want. I've worked, they set lead limits on me at my last IMO, right? Like, it was ridiculous. I was literally just getting recycled leads and they were sending lead limits on me. So just keep in mind, guys, like, if you're not like just getting, you see this little image right here. If you're not getting tons of leads, it's just, you're not going to see the success you want. I hear people at one of the big IMOs that say they're getting 25 leads a week. Like, that's not, you're going to be like literally you're going to be without work if you're working 20 leads a week. I'm telling you right now.
100%.
Okay. What is this? I can't afford that many leads. That's kind of one of the big things. And I'll let Tim touch a little bit more on this because he's generating them. So I don't want to like encroach in his domain, but this is, it is a lot of leads to pay for, especially with prices these days on lead vendors and IMO lead vendors or whatever you want to call those.
100%. Yeah. Like when you guys hear that, how many of you guys are going like, I can't, like, how am I going to buy 50 leads a day or generate 50 leads a day? Like, that's just ridiculous. Like, that's not within the realm of my budget, which for most of the people I talk to, it's really not. Like, most people, they're trying to sell, they're trying to, leave a job, or they've left a job and they're trying to make an income, and they don't have thousands of dollars a week to invest into leads at the risk that they could possibly lose that money, right? And so one of the things that we've kind of implemented is at Zoosurance, if you're an agent with Zoosurance, we literally pay for all of your leads. So we upfront pay for all of the leads that you get, and you basically are just able to work as many leads as you can possibly handle, because ultimately, we're invested in creating production through the agents, right? So let me kind of walk through here. We've talked a little bit about like the 4 keys, which again, activity, what was the second one? Value, automation, and volume. So activity, value, automation, and volume. Here, this is basically like the funnel that we use. So we have the Facebook ad, which brings them to an instant form, which is basically just a form they have on Facebook. The Facebook ad, again, we're targeting people in pain. Then they go to a landing page where we have more information, usually a video, a survey they go through, which asks them some more questions. And then basically we just get them to book an appointment. And if they fall off at any point in the funnel, we have automations that are just going to shoot them like right back into where they need to go. So let's look at it from an actual visual perspective, right? Here's an ad that we have. This is just kind of an example, a screenshot of one. So we got the ad targeting those people in pain, sucking people in like a vacuum cleaner from Facebook. Then we got the instant form, is where I actually collect the information from them. Then we got the landing page with a video describing more, giving them more value, more information. Hey, this is what you need to do next, blah, 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 blah. Then the survey, right? Hey,
well, Tim, hold on.
Yeah,
this is super techno babble for me, and I'm sure a lot of agents are feeling the same way right now.
Yeah,
are you guys getting this? Can I get a yes in the comments if you're getting this right now? Does this all making sense? You know what I'm saying? Like, because we're throwing a lot of stuff at you here, and I'm like not inundated in techno babble because I'm a part of this process and I talk to these people. But is this all making sense? If I can get a yes in the comments, we'll move forward. But if not, we're going to literally have to start over all the way back from the top. And I got a call in 20 minutes that I got to go write some business on. So is that okay? All right.
We're getting some yes. I'm going to have to put my speech on 2x speed, bro.
Anyway, I'll call them on the live if I have to.
We'll see. we got yes. Marlon Jordan says yes. Nico Lab says yes. Preston Hicks says so far so good here. Kathy says yes. Gerardo says yes. And Arthur says yes. Perfect, guys. So next, survey. This is where we're getting some more information. It's like an extra step for people to qualify themselves and show that they're interested. Then 5, we got the automations, all the stuff that kind of just absolutely goes to war in our inbox for us, helps book appointments, sends out value, the content, like all these videos that we record, they're like mini salespeople that just go out and just work for us and increase the value and increase the trust with the prospects. So if you want to replicate the system, basically what you have to do is hire a marketing agency to build your ads or build your own ads, create your own landing page with custom coding, do all this stuff, set up the pixel to track this, code automations for hours, which trust me, it takes hours. It's a nightmare. And then the last one here is cry. What you have to do, part 2, film value-based content, which is basically turning yourself into a final expense influencer, which for some of you guys might be fun. For me, I enjoy it, but most people don't. Pay thousands of dollars a week for leads, make $300 a day using your cell phone, and then try and figure out sales while your upline plays golf. How many of you guys can relate to that last one? I think that might hit a little too hard at home for some of you guys.
It's me. I'm some of these guys. Like back in the day, not now. My upline's a dog now, but yeah, back in the day, that was, I'd call him and be like, I'm in the middle of playing a few holes, man.
So luckily, now there is a new way, a better way, right? With all of that's done for you already, basically you just plug right into the system as a closer, meaning that you can sell a policy a day, and just plug right in and just like basically imagine a river of leads, and then you just sticking a straw in and you're sucking out water. That's essentially what you're doing when you're plugging in as a closer. Does that make sense? Do you guys see the difference between like creating all of it yourself versus just like plugging in, being an agent that can close deals instead of like everything else, right? It's crazy. So who here thinks this sounds awesome so far? I know maybe some of you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, but you're like, oh, I'm on board. Whatever this is, this sounds amazing. I'm just, my feet are kicking under the table. Like I'm just so hyped. Oh man. So secret number 2, that's secret number 2, which is how to generate, actually, no, that's secret number 2 was how to sell a policy a day. Secret number 3 is how to make 6 figures without buying leads. Let's jump straight on into that. So again, when we first got started, this is young Tim and young Julian and the thralls of selling final expense door to door in North Carolina. An absolute blast of a time. It was a blast, but we were broke. So it was only so much of a blast. And our goal was we just want to earn 6 figures, right? I just want to make 6 figures. How many of you guys can relate to that? Like you're saying, hey, I got into the insurance business because I want to make 6 figures. I just want to earn 6 figures, support my family, have some freedom, not have to go into work every day and like just, live the life, right? But problem is we were sold this dream of, hey, you're going to be able to make 6 figures. This is, fine and dandy, whatever. And in reality, there was a lot more things that we weren't accounting for, right? Like the path is pretty treacherous. How many of you guys can relate to this image right here, right? Like you're like, cool, what the recruiters tell you, boom, I'm just going to, ride the bike, make a few calls. Next thing you know, I'm right on my way to making 6 figures. Not a problem, fine and dandy, super easy. And then in reality, you get into it. There's chargebacks, which just hit you in the face like a ton of bricks. Absolute garbage can leads who, they filled something out about getting a free radio. And next thing you know, you're trying to sell them insurance. Like there's a lot more that goes into it than what they tell you. But ultimately, that's most people's goal is making 6 figures. And what this leads to is like you have the illusion of choice. So you can either buy leads from your IMO or you can buy leads from a lead vendor that your IMO owns. It's basically the exact same thing when you break it down, but that's kind of like what you're pushed to do. So you get into the business, either buy leads from your IMO, you buy them directly from like the lead center or whatever, or you go buy leads from a lead vendor that your IMO is recommending and they're getting a kickback every single time. So the problem with this whole system that everyone's working is the incentives are completely and totally misaligned. So as you guys can see here, these are the IMOs that are making money from selling leads and overrides, even if the agents lose money. So, if I'm an IMO in this position, I recruit somebody in, I make 20% on everything that they sell. I also make money when they buy leads. So if they overspend on leads and don't make any money for them, I still make a ton of money because I get the override on what they sell and I make money on the leads. Like it's a win-win system for the IMOs here. Like you can't lose in that situation. So the incentives are completely and totally misaligned. They have no incentive to train you. They have no incentive to make sure you're successful. There's just nothing in it for them because they're already making their money. And that's where this different kind of system comes into play. So basically what Julian and I have been working on here and what we've pretty much designed is a system where we make money when you make money, right? And so essentially, Agents and insurance, our incentives are aligned because you are essentially a closer for our agency if when you are an agent at insurance. And so we basically have to invest in you. We have to train you. We have to feed you leads to make sure you're successful, because that's how we get paid. We get paid by you making money, you selling policies. We're investing in your leads. We're investing in your marketing. So if you're not selling profitably, nobody makes money. So our incentives are aligned instead of a complete and polar opposite. Does that make sense? Do you guys understand like the difference between an agency that is, paying for your leads, training you, incentives being aligned, versus the other model where it's just like cash grab? Awesome. Fantastic. So in this model that we're talking about, we provide all of the leads for you and invest into training for you. And if you lose, we lose. And if you win, we win. So when you break it down, the way that we've designed the whole comp structure is if you sell about 30 policies per month in this model, you will make at least 6 figures, and that's factoring in chargebacks. So if you sell 30 policies a month at an average policy size of about $1,000, you will make 6 figures after chargebacks without any lead cost whatsoever. That's basically the way it breaks down. There's no leads, no softwares, no risk, literally just pure profit, just going in and closing. So does that all make sense to you guys? Does that make sense up until this point? I know it's, we've covered a lot here. And just to kind of recap on what we've covered, how we get prospects that are begging to buy. That's secret number one. You guys saw the whole process. Again, targeting people that are in pain, using the email, the content, the value, all the stuff that goes into that, right? Secret number 2 was writing at least a policy every single day. That was the 4 keys: activity, volume, value, and automation, right? All of those things working together can just predictably, you're writing a policy every single day. And then secret number 3, how you can make 6 figures without buying leads. If you're working with a company that is invested in your success, that's going to train you, with the incentives are aligned, where you're able to get that support, that's ultimately the best model to do that, in my opinion. So I know we've dumped a lot of information on you guys up until this point, right? So let me ask you guys a question, because I know it's kind of been like drinking water from a fire hose here. How many of you guys think that this is the future of insurance, right? Not being in the zombie horde, standing out, being different, offering insurance to people that are in pain, giving them that value, really like being a different agent, right? And Julian, kind of touch on this because you've been more experiencing this different model, and I know you've worked a lot of models when it comes to this. Like, do you think that this is the future of insurance from your perspective?
Yeah, no, 100%. And I don't think it's necessarily like, I don't want anyone to misunderstand that it's the future of insurance because we're doing it. It's the future of insurance because it's something that has fundamentally changed in the buying process from what people were doing back in the 80s and the 90s, when you got guys like Jordan Belfort and what was that guy's name? He stole 50 billion. Bernie Madoff. These guys are super charismatic individuals. They're going to take all your money and run. They're going to promise you the world and run away. Well, we live in reality now. People can just use Google and find out whether or not you're a fraud or if you're actually a legitimate company. It doesn't take a genius to do that anymore. And if you notice, a lot of these people that we're going to be dealing with have dealt with those types of people before, and they're pushy and they're high pressure sales and they're ready to just rip you off at a moment's notice. And the reason why all of this is the future of insurance is because instead of just, going out and telling everybody you have insurance and they should buy it, you're going out and finding people who are looking for insurance and you're asking them why they need it so they sell you on it instead. It just like, with the way that I look at it, like, it just makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, it's not rocket science here.
One thing that I kind of like to, and this is like a thought process that I've had for myself, is like, if I think about how I would want to buy insurance, right? And I'm not really like, I don't really have a need for life insurance yet because I'm, 22 and don't have kids or anything or a wife. But I'll look at example like car insurance. Like, how would I want to buy car insurance? Do I want to put my info in on one site and then get called by 50,000 companies? My phone never stops ringing? Like, hell no. I would rather go to someone that's going to offer me value, that's going to send me videos, that's going to have me be able to, book an appointment, or call them, offer me value, and stand out, right? Like, I don't want to just be telephonically terrorized. And the seniors are no different. And what you got to realize is like, as we go into the future, you guys, if you're like, let's say somebody's watching this and they're in their, 40s or 50s or 30s, like your generation is going to be the one buying final expense, not too far in the future. And if you think about how people in these younger generations buy, like they're not going to respond to just being telephonically terrorized. So you have to separate yourself from the zombie horde, because like the zombies are getting wiped out. I'm just going to keep it a buck. That's kind of what's going to happen.
Well, Tim, this is the crazy part. Most people are spending these times. I've been this person. I've been these people in the zombie horde, where I'm like, I'm over here like having to pull off a freaking leg lock 360 up and down, hanging off the mountain type of like vice grip sales style to get someone to purchase a policy, because you're not following these types of like methodologies and this type of consulting approach. And what the problem is that not only do you get like bigger chargebacks, but like right now with what we're doing, and this is only going to improve, and I know it because it's only improved since we started doing this, but I'm literally cranking out apps in 30, 35 minutes from the start of the call for business that's sticking. And I've gotten some of this going on with, 40, 45 minutes, but that's if they can't figure out eSig. These people just want to buy. They don't care about us. Yeah. And that's just the real. Like, sorry to tell you, but you're not that special. You know what I mean? Like, you are special to people in your own life because they enjoy your company. But if you think that someone in the total other side of the country, like, actually cares about what you had for lunch, it's just not the case, right? And so we just got to give them the experience that they want, not the experience that we want buying insurance or selling it. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there because
no, you're 100% right. So with that all being said, is it okay with you guys if we take a second to kind of break down the agency that we're building? I know Julian has to jump through a call to sell an app in a few minutes here, but in the remaining time that we have, is it okay with you guys if we kind of take a second to like break down, what we're looking at, what we're looking at doing, and how that whole agency would work? We'll just kind of wait for some yeses here because I don't want to encroach if you guys aren't open to this. Julian, when is your appointment? Is it in like 7 minutes?
Yeah, I've got one in 7 minutes. I'm supposed to jump on a call with her. She's been really interactive. I've never used Go High Level and StreamYard at the same time, so I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to jump on a call with you guys on. But
I don't think you will. We'll see.
I don't think I will. I wish I could do it live for you guys. That'd be awesome.
Maybe we might be able to.
I'll see if I can figure it out. But if it doesn't work, then obviously like client comes first. I'll have to get you guys later. Like, sorry, 100%. But she needs insurance.
I mean, you could just you could probably put it in a different tab, mute yourself on here, and then just stay in. Keep your camera on.
Might do something like that. I just got to figure it out.
Cool. Well, if that happens, then awesome. But we're gonna jump into this. I'm seeing a bunch of yeses come through the chat. Fantastic. Let's jump into it. So basically, the agency that we're building is called Zoosurance, right? And before I jump into like all the specifics, for those of you guys, because I know some of you guys are new, I just want to kind of touch like a little bit on our background, some of the people we've worked with, because we're new to the agency building stuff. Like we're looking to hire people, just to be totally transparent. But we've done a lot of other stuff in the past. So some of the people we've worked with, basically what we used to do is we set up like all these marketing systems for other people. And what we realized is like, if we can do this one time for ourselves and make it just killer and then bring other people to work with us, we can have a bigger impact than if we're just like another, marketing agency that sets up Facebook ads for people, right? What happened?
She just canceled because her 2-year-old is sick. Her 2-year-old grandson.
That's okay.
Yeah. But I get to hang out with you guys, so I wanted to be dramatic about it.
Awesome. But with that's basically like the background that we came from. So this is just people that have, kind of said good things about us with that, to be totally transparent. So this is someone we worked with, helped her set up ads and do all kinds of stuff. She's been able to write over $1,000 a day and hasn't bought leads since she started running ads. And she's also building her own agency. Awesome. Cool. This is another guy we worked with. He'd been in the industry for a while. We helped him set up, stuff. He worked with us. He was averaging $15K a month in profit working insurance part-time. This is Johnny. I know some of you guys might know him. He has a YouTube channel as well, and he's building an agency. And basically, like, we helped him originally get set up with Facebook ads, and he's just been absolutely killing it since then. So I show that to just kind of tell you guys, like, we're not new to this by any means. And a lot of the people that you see that are generating their leads, I'm not going to, like, of course, not taking credit for their success by any means, but a lot of the stuff when it comes to like marketing and lead gen and stuff, a lot of it originates from some of the stuff that we kind of pioneered in the industry. So with that being said, just wanted to kind of touch on that, show you guys some of the stuff we've done so you know who we are if you haven't met us before. Imagine never having to buy leads or generate leads again. Like if you could only focus on closing and selling policies and just like sharpening the axe on that, how much more do you think you guys could sell? Right?
Comment below.
And comment below. Like
I want to hear
how much more?
What do you think? No Facebook ads, no account bans, no support emails, none of that stuff. You're not setting up
no softwares, none of that stuff.
No softwares. You're not going.
No lead vendors.
Yeah, no lead vendors. Waiting for them to get you back. They didn't fill the order. They didn't give you a refund. They never hit you back. They went under and then ghosted you. They took their website down. Now the domain's for sale, and you can restart their lead company if you want.
Another thing too is no negative weeks. So there's never a week where you invest into leads and then don't make money back.
Yeah.
So before I jump into that, my girlfriend took that photo earlier. But basically, the whole philosophy that we've kind of come at this with is like when you look at a company, and I talked about this in the other video that I made. When you have a company, everyone has a different role, right? Or we'll look at a sports example, for example, right? So, for example, let's look at a football team like the Patriots, right? So you got Tom Brady, who's the quarterback. He just throws touchdown passes all day long. You got the O-line. I don't know any of the names of the Patriots O-line, but you got the offensive line. These are like massive, just absolutely brick houses of human beings who weigh 300 pounds, 6'6", massive dudes, right? And their whole job is protect the quarterback. Then you got a running back that's usually like a speedy, shifty, stocky dude who just like absolutely bowling balls through people. You got your wide receivers. These are shifty, tall, lanky, quick. Maybe they're 180, which I'm like 5'9", 190. So they're, lighter than me, but they just move like freaking gazelles. And all of these people have specialized roles within the company. That's the way that teams function in everything. Companies, football teams, soccer teams, basketball teams, like everything works that way. Everything that is optimal. And there's only one business where people like that doesn't happen, right? Because in business, there's basically four main functions of business. You got sales, you got marketing, you got finance, and you got HR. Getting a call from Florida. I'm going to hang up. It's another zombie horde.
It was me.
But
it wasn't.
You have these four different functions. And when you're an independent agent, you have to do all four. So your sales, your marketing, your HR, because you got to recruit people and train people and hire people. And you got to do finance because you got to keep track of all of it. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Why would you do four roles and be underpaid for it? It makes absolutely no sense. And so the angle that we've come at this with is like, let's create a team of people that are focusing on doing one thing and doing it extremely freaking well. And then we can have people that are in marketing that just generate the leads for them. Maybe we'll have appointment setters at one point. So you're just taking inbound appointments, whatever it looks like. And then you have people that are doing finance, all the other stuff, so that you can just be an absolute closing freak and just serve and sell policies. And so that's basically the whole philosophy we've come at this with. So with that being said, my full-time job is I literally just do marketing all day long. So I work on Facebook ads. I do emails, content to warm up the leads, generating appointments, the email automations, more, all kinds of stuff. Like I'm just fully into this all day long. We also have an in-house Facebook ad specialist who works for us and basically optimizes our ads to help us continue to get high-quality leads, week after week after week. So when an agent comes to work with us, when you come to work with us, here's what you're going to get. Free unlimited leads. I want you guys to take that in for a second. Free unlimited leads, meaning that we will give you as many leads as you can possibly work and sell profitably. So, meaning no more buying leads, none of the other stuff that goes with that, like nothing else that comes with it. You literally just take leads and close deals. And the estimated value of that, I think we probably underestimated here, but we said about $10,000 a month. I'd say it's probably higher than that, to be completely honest with you guys. But when you break it out, it comes out to $120K a year.
And
Julian, anything you want to add on this before I jump to the next thing?
I wanted to be super, super clear on this, because if we're putting at least 120 grand a year, because as a salesperson myself, I'm going to jockey for you to get as many leads as possible if you're writing business profitably. If you're not, then obviously we can't keep you here, because we can't just throw 120 grand at people a year just for you to, sit on your butt and watch Netflix shows and wait for the phone to ring. So you guys can see like why we're motivated to make you guys successful. And we're not just going to throw you to the wolves like I got thrown to the wolves or Tim got thrown to the wolves. Luckily, me and Tim had each other and we just like fought our way out back to back. But, this is an X-Men origins over here for most people, right? You don't just have somebody who's got your back and ready to fight with you. Most times you're getting into this alone. I almost got into this alone. My friends just saw an opportunity and wanted to take it with me. And so with these types of investments, this is just the lead cost. This doesn't include the time investment, the software investment, everything else. If we're going to bet our futures on being successful together, we're certainly not going to do it with a situation where we're just going to throw you to the wolves and let it run, because that just doesn't make sense for anyone.
Yeah.
So,
100%.
I just wanted to make that
100%.
very clear. And we'll touch more on that in a minute, because there's more that I want to elaborate on, but that's something that we'll touch on in a moment.
Yeah. And so like, just, 100% agree with what you just said there. But like another thing too, is like we get all these leads, we're spending all this money on leads. What do you do with the leads? Right. And so we got to figure out, okay, what kind of CRM software are we going to use? And we've tried dozens of them and they all sucked. I'll just be totally honest. So basically we created our own, and it's a Go High Level white label that we created. We've tweaked it. We've optimized it. We've set it up with Zapier to connect to Kixie and all these different things. And so basically, I won't go into all the, techno details. You guys it doesn't really matter. But basically, we have email automations that go out, text automations that go out. And the whole purpose and the whole goal is to get prospects hot and ready to buy like Little Caesars, right? So we're just peppering them with this content, filling them up with value. Like we're just absolutely storming these people with positive interactions with us, so that when they jump on the phone with an agent like you or an agent like Julian, it's a different vibe, right? And so that's essentially what the CRM does. We've spent hundreds of hours literally like doing all this stuff, coding this out, and thousands of dollars creating these automations so that you don't have to, right? So when we stack this up, you get the free unlimited leads, $10,000 a month in value. You get the free CRM system, which we pay $500 a month for Go High Level. And you get that all totally included for free. So that comes out to a total value of $125,964 a year. Hold on, anything you want to add on this before I jump to the next thing? Boom. So maybe you're an agent who's like, cool, that sounds awesome. When I call, nobody answers the phone. And the thing is, we had the exact same problem. Hold on, you remember when your answer rate was like 2%?
Sub 2%. I remember.
Terrible.
There were days
absolutely
of
terrible.
1.4% answer rates and lower.
Just absolutely abysmal, right? And so the solution to this is multi-line dialer with number wrapping. So that's software I was telling you guys about earlier called Kixie. They're probably going to get a ton of business from us, and I hope they do because they're great. But basically, always is going to locally number wrap your number, which words. But basically, if I call someone, like if I call Julian has a 336 number. It's going to show up as a 336 number or an in-area code. So Burlington is near the 336 area code, so it showed up as 743. So you're basically always showing up as a local area code. And if you think about what numbers you answer, it's doctors, it's friends, it's people in your area code, not random people that you've never heard of or never know, right? So when you call people with that multi-line dial, your answer rate skyrockets. For us, it went up by 5x, right? So that software, we're going to cover it. We're going to pay it for you. You're going to get that as part of the package that's coming to work with us. So again, unlimited leads, $10,000 a month. Again, kind of a conservative estimate. The free CRM system, $497 a month. And the free multi-line dial comes out to $150 a month, plus the extra minutes, which you guys are all going to use more than the minutes. So this is actually a little more than $150 a month. Total value invested into an agent comes out to $127,764 per year.
Well, hold on.
So-
And I want to touch on that a little bit real quick.
Yeah,
You guys-
go for it.
Like super, super quick. I don't want to like spend too much time on this, but you guys notice how we're using the word invested into an agent, investing into an agent, how much we're investing into you. It's not a hype up, sign up, pillage the village, beat the door down and pull them out the front of the house recruiting type of model. You don't need to go get your friends and family. You don't need to go and drag them out of the freaking laundry room while they're trying to do their chores to put them in front of someone to get pitched on an opportunity. Like, guys, totally, oh my gosh, it was all smoke and mirrors. Let's just everybody invite your friends and family on. Let's talk. No, it's not that type of opportunity, right? We're actually investing into people like a real Fortune 500 business does, because that's where you get returns on investment, is when not only you invest in yourself, but when you invest in other people and you show them what you've done that's working, right? The Wright brothers were not just throwing people into the plane and jumping off of the cliff at Kitty Hawk and seeing if their test dummy was going to work out. They'd actually done it themselves. And that's why people were willing to put trust in things like the plane or, whatever it was that other people have invested into. And so
1000%.
the whole time while we're investing into this process, into this system, I'm still on the phones with you guys. This isn't like, it isn't, like I said, it's not a hype up, sign up, pillage the village method where I'm just, going off and going to go play golf or something of that nature. Like, we're still investing in you as a person and a professional so that you can achieve your financial goals. And I just wanted to touch on that because that's not really relevant or even seen in this industry at all. I saw somebody mention something about how greed is not good, and you see a lot of that here. So I just wanted to make that super clear because that's not really the type of person we're looking for.
Yeah, no, 1000%. And like parroting off of that, because this is actually exactly what we're talking about here, is like when we were constructing this, we're like, all right, what's the biggest problem agents deal with that causes them to fail? And especially newer agents. Because basically, so I'll kind of break this down for you guys. The way that I see it is whenever you're getting into insurance, there's two main learning curves you have, right? You have the insurance learning curve and you got the sales learning curve. And you could be an absolute freaking like wizard at sales, like, you're, Harry Potter, freaking Dumbledore at sales, just absolutely have it mastered down to a science. But let's say you have the sales figured out. You get into insurance, there's all these other variables that you haven't accounted for. So even if you're amazing at sales, you still have to figure out all this insurance stuff. So these two learning curves that converge and then ultimately result in you succeeding. And so when you come in, most people are somewhere along these lines at a certain point. They have no insurance experience and they have some sales experience, a leveling degree, sometimes none, sometimes some. And basically, it's the job of your trainer, the job of your upline, to move you along this path, this learning curve, to the point where you can be successful. And so, again, even if you have sales experience, there's all this stuff you got to learn about insurance, the underwriting, the this, the that, the replacements, blah, 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 all the crap that comes into it. And it's not like it's crazy hard to learn, but you have to learn it somehow, and you're not going to learn it on your own. And so when agents don't get training, they just absolutely, completely implode. Like, it just never works out, right? You might be writing business, but it's going to stick like, throwing an ice cube at a doorway. Like, it just doesn't even work. So the biggest reason like agents don't succeed is they have an upline that just doesn't answer the phone or just doesn't train them at all. And obviously it starts with the agent themselves. If they don't show up and they don't work on themselves, they don't, try to improve or try to actually sell, they're not going to succeed. But if they don't have someone that's supporting them, if they got the dude that's, playing golf with their phone on D&D while they're struggling to put in applications, like, it's just not going to work out. It just doesn't. And Julian, anything you want to add on here? Because I know you were talking about this a second ago.
Yeah, and I wanted to, just be super, super clear. Like, one of the things that Tim talked about was the learning curve of sales versus the learning curve of insurance. What I see most often is that you get this learning curve of sales and this learning curve of insurance, and it's kind of like a start and stop type of deal where it's like kind of happening. It's almost like one of those like fault lines that causes earthquakes in California. But the problem that comes up is that you go from being like at total ground zero, and you see this little uptick, and then your upline immediately says recruit and start wearing your fifth hat, which is manager and leader. And if you guys are hearing that and seeing that and you've done it, because that's what I was told to do, go out, recruit everyone you can think of, And they didn't even tell me what underwriting was. They just told me to ask health questions and submit applications and get banking and social. The summary of my training was, okay, so I just need to get banking and social, right? He's like, yeah, if you can get banking and social, dude, everything else just comes together, man. That's the hardest part of this business. And that's true. But it's also, you got to understand the other nuances of this industry to be successful. And if you're trying to recruit, for lack of a better word, if you're trying to turn a shitstorm into a duplication where you are literally just recruiting other shitstorms, your business is going to fall apart. You're going to hear horror stories where people get roll-up debt, they write no business, they make no money, they get vectored, they get kicked out of the business, et cetera, et cetera. And we've all seen it. You can watch videos all over YouTube about it. It's disgusting. But yeah, that was pretty much what I wanted to talk about, is like how you actually need to be developed as an agent before you can even think about recruiting or trying to be a manager or a leader.
100%. And that's why at our agency, all of the agents work together in a Zoom room. So as Julian's calling, right? If let's say his appointment had showed today or didn't cancel, the agents that are working under us and working at the agency will be able to listen to him closing live. They'll also be able to get advice and tips and basically have him help them through closing deals when they're having deals of their own, right? And Julian, I mean, how valuable can the Zoom actually be, like when you're a new agent or just an agent, stuck on something or trying to figure things out?
I've seen agents that we've worked with quit their jobs back when we were doing this for free for people, as we were like testing out the systems of building this this up for someone that we were willing to hire leading up to this moment. I've seen people go from working 2 full-time jobs to making, $20,000 a month, or, sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more, but working full-time jobs and selling insurance here and there to doing that full-time. A lot of it is not just that you're getting that coaching, but it's also just the accountability. Like when you have someone to show up with you every single day, if you have a gym partner, like Tim, if I'm going to the gym and I said, yo, I'll see you there at 5 a.m. and you don't show up, like our friendship's going to take a hit, right?
Yeah,
at some point, I'm going to lose respect for you. And if I'm not showing up to work and you are, or vice versa, that relationship, especially when you're actually serious about building wealth for yourself and genuinely trying to invest in your family tree, like if my wife just sees that I'm not showing up for work every day, she's going to genuinely lose respect for me the same way that I would if she was just like, you know what, I'm just going to sit in bed and watch Netflix all day. And it's a totally different dynamic when you're doing it with people that are genuinely motivated and you've expressed that motivation and committed to something. Now, if you don't commit to it, that's totally different, right? If you didn't tell me, hey, I'm going to show up to this Zoom, it doesn't really matter. The accountability within itself is what I found to be the most powerful thing. And if you show up and start doing the activity, you're just going to fall into opportunities. And if you get stuck, if there's a speed bump, just press the gas a little bit. You'll be good. You know what I mean? And if you need somebody to push down on your knee to press that gas a little bit, I got you. No worries. Hey, they told me they didn't want to give me their banking. Totally get it. Say this. Boom. Wham, bam. Thank you, ma'am. That's simple. But I've seen the accountability be the biggest portion of this, is because most of these uplines aren't even picking up the phone to answer when you call, much less sitting with you through every single call. And I'm always the first one and the last one out here. So, I mean, I can attest to everyone that shows up there.
100%. Like, so for those of you guys that are watching, do you guys see how it would be valuable to have somebody that is writing 10K a week over your shoulder, coaching you through everything, helping you write apps, like all of the stuff that goes into that? Do you guys see how that would be valuable? Do you think that you would benefit from something like that? Just drop that in the comments down below. So on top of the Zoom, we have daily training and mentorship. So a daily call every single day, teaching new things, helping with new skills, one-on-one mentorship, meaning that you're going to have personal calls with us. Because again, you will be a mouthpiece of Zurance. You will be an agent closing deals on leads that we are pushing. We're going to be investing in your skill set. And if you're not the type of person that wants someone who's invested in your skill set, this probably isn't for you. But if you are, like, that's what this is, right? We're going to be figuring out how we can improve your sales skills. What are the things you need to be working on this week versus last week? And how are we able to constantly improve and constantly get better so we can help more families, close more deals, make more money for you, make more money for us, help our clients, and ultimately just have an all-around winning environment. And basically our vision for this and what we want to create is, like, instead of this absolute, human collateral machine that these MLMs are, where they're just arms and legs and heartbeats of just people just moving that don't do anything. We want to have a tight-knit, close, basically a SEAL team of insurance producers where everyone is just producing at a high level, everyone is making a ridiculous amount of money, and everyone is just closing deals left and right, right? And Julian, I know this is something you're super passionate about. Kind of touch a little bit more on what we mean when we say SEAL team of insurance producers so that people can kind of understand that.
Yeah, and this is the type of stuff where like it's all sunshine and rainbows when you guys want to show up and I want to make six figures. It's like it's super hype, right? We all get excited and I'm like, oh my gosh, six figures. It's beautiful and it sounds great and it looks good on the tax return. I want to send a screenshot to mom and grandma because it just sounds beautiful, whatever. I want to show my wife that we made the almighty six figures this year and we worked our butts off to get it. But when it's actually time to show up for 365 days in a row, that's where most people fall off. And as long as you're not most people, which we are not, and we're committed to that, we want to be around those people. You don't necessarily have to be like the SEALs start off by going through Hell Week, right? It starts off hard and it's not going to be easy. None of this stuff is going to be easy. So if you're one of the people that wants easy, jump ship now. Don't even apply. Please don't apply. I'm saving you from wasting your time and ours. But if you guys are genuinely willing to go through the equivalent of Hell Week for sales, where you guys are going to literally have to go train repeatedly, show up every day at the same time, make phone call after phone call, taste rejection after rejection to get into the most turnkey marketing system that we have seen in the industry to date, that I've ever been a part of in any industry, period, then this would be the place for you. Constant dedication to growth within your personal, professional, and financial life, and accountability to yourself and to others to encourage them to drive to be better, as well as yourself. And I saw 3 people jump off of here. For the 52 that are still on, thank God. They just rang the bell and we got a few extra winners that are going to stay on here today, right? Because we don't have any of the losers that are not willing to show up for themselves. And that is the stuff that nobody wants to talk about in this business. Oh, let's make 6 figures. 6 figures is tough. Being a Navy SEAL is tough. Being a Spartan is tough. And if you want to have that 6-figure income consistently, I'm not talking, I had a 10K month or a 10K week one time. That's great. We're talking about consistently, year after year, paying off your house, paying your kids' college, getting your wife to quit her job, paying off your parents' house. We're talking about real impact in society, within your life and the people around you. If you want that, that starts by putting your ass on the line and showing up every single day. And I'm very passionate about this because I know for a fact that if there are 10 other producers doing exactly what I'm doing, right, then this business, Zoosurance, is not only going to have an impact on the clients, but it's going to have an impact on your families and the people that you talk to on a daily basis. We just had another winner jump on, by the way, guys. So maybe they got disconnected. But all of that to say that this is going to be hard. So just because we're talking about making 6 figures. Today I've been working to make 6 figures. You get what I mean? I've been showing up for it with pounding the phones all day, repeatedly clicking the button. I'm 2 apps in today and I'm jumping back on the phones after I get off here. I can jump on a live because I'm putting in the effort outside of this time so that I can invest into other people and bring you guys up with us. We just had 3 other winners pop on. So I wanted to touch on that because for those of you that have been sold the dream that other people will tell you that 6 figures is easy, you only have to write 1 policy every 3 days and make 20 phone calls here and there. This is not that opportunity. If you want to go and sell that to somebody else, this is not that place to do that, right? We are going to be monster producers and we're going to do it together. But that means you have to work as a team. And that means you have to work your ass off to make sure that everyone's got each other's backs. So I just want to make that abundantly clear. We just had another winner show up.
1,000%. Love it. I'm glad I asked for your input there. That was fire. So yeah, I mean, Julian has been just absolutely murdering the phones. He's made thousands of 10,000 plus calls over the last few months, right? And over the course of that, we've just been iron sharpening iron, just bulletproofing a telesales script from just trial by fire, right? And so essentially we've created what we think is the perfect telesales script. And ultimately it's always changing. It's always improving. We're always split testing different things. It's always getting better and better. And basically This is what we'll train you on, is that telesales script, right? We call it the skeleton key sales script. We're constantly improving it. This is the exact script, the exact process that Julian is using, and this is what you'll be trained on, right? We also have recorded live sales calls and sales training. We have video training as well as the live training that you're going to be experiencing on a day-to-day basis. Like, we are pouring into the agents that we bring on, like absolutely pouring into these agents. It's like unbelievable the amount of like assets and the amount of resources that we're going to put into each individual person to get them up to the point where they can just completely destroy and crush the phones, right? And so, Julian, your average policy size is 1322, right? Like it's way above. I think it's like what, 57% higher than average. Like, what really goes behind that? Is there a specific thing that you really think it is, or what do you think is kind of results in that?
Well, biggest thing, I talked about this earlier, and we're going to answer a ton of these questions. We're getting pounded with questions and also trying to make sure that we're going over this so that you can know for a fact whether or not you're the person that wants to apply with this, because we want you to make an educated decision. It is not like when you commit to being a Navy SEAL or when you commit to working in a system like this, it's not like let me just go and do that. Like, this is a real decision that you're going to be making, because once you get in, you can't go back unless you quit. And if you quit, like, you're going to have to live with that forever. So what I was talking about earlier was just that with the consulting aspect of things. So imagine this. You're talking to your client and they have a problem that needs to be solved, right? In one scenario, let's say they're asking for a slice of pizza, and lining the street on either side is just a bunch of hot dog stands. No matter how hard you try to sell your dang hot dog, if they want pizza, they're getting pizza, right? That means they'll pay more for pizza. They'll get more pizza than they actually wanted because everything around them is not what they thought that they needed, right? It's not what they were asking for to begin with. So when you want to go out and you want to get that problem solved, not only do they pay top dollar, but they'll also buy more of it. So instead of getting one slice of pizza, if all they've ever seen is hot dog stands, what is now considered a scarce resource is going to create a situation where they just want to buy a large pizza. You get what I mean? And so the analogy that I'm making here is that when I'm selling these policies to people, right, I'm going to ask the client what it is that they want to cover. And what most people don't do is they don't ask them about things outside of what they assume the person wants to cover. Hey, do you want to cover a cremation? Yes, great. Let me get you a quick little tiny policy. And they're so ready to jump in and make that sale. But if they ask those few extra questions, Tim, that's where they're going to get that deal done. So when these people are wanting to jump in and get a policy, they're looking at it from multiple angles. I get situations where people call me all the time asking for more insurance, right? They're like, I want to get more insurance. And I'm like, well, why do you want more insurance? They're like, well, my agent didn't get me enough. And I'm like, well, why didn't you call them? And a lot of times what they'll tell you is this: I can't find his number or her number. I don't know. I don't have their number anymore. Right. Or honestly, I don't know. They just never asked me in the first place. So I figured I don't know. I don't really feel like there's a lot there. Right. And so all of that to say that when you ask more questions, you can find more needs. And so when I'm solving these needs is literally just, why do you want to cover that cremation? Do you know how much cremation costs? Is there anything else that you wanted to cover? Do you have any outstanding debts? Are there any mortgage payments? What about this? What about that? Et cetera, et cetera. 1, 2, 3, ABC. And it ends up resulting in higher premium. You also have to make sure that you're accounting for the fact that they are a lot of times lower income. So you do have to also budget check them. But ultimately, if you go through the habit of budget checking, this is stuff that you'll learn just by hearing me do it. And you'll watch as I close 1, 2, 3 deals a day right in front of you every single day, like clockwork. You'll see all this happen and you'll just naturally pick it up in addition to the daily training that we would do on something like this. But this is like just asking those questions and genuinely caring about the prospect in a way that I want to solve your problem and find out if you have any other problems I can solve before I get out of here so I can do a good darn job and get a 5-star review. That's all I want. I want my 5-star review and I want to make sure I'm doing it right. And that's pretty much how I approach it to get that number up there.
Fire. My lips are burning. My ears are burning too. But yeah, I mean, that's just like a kind of a snippet of what Julian just spits on a daily basis. Just an absolutely sales training fire breathing dragon. It's just utterly ridiculous. But I mean, one thing from that, right? One thing from a training could boost your closing rate by 10 to 30%, right? It's 100%. Like, it happens all the time. You get one little nugget, one little thing that just you apply and it just works. Like for us, one of the things that like literally tripled our sales was optimizing for the review instead of the sale. But like one little nugget can just totally blow that up. And I mean, you guys are going to be listening to this guy day to day on a consistent basis. You'll learn the exact sales process from start to finish. You'll learn how to ask those questions, everything that like just really goes into being a top producing agent. So again, to recap, because I know we've covered a lot, I want to make sure you guys are on the same page. So unlimited free leads, $10,000 a month of value. The free CRM system, $497 a month of value. The free multi-line dialer, so you can call leads with a local area code, all of that stuff, and call multiple leads at once and just get out more production. $150 a month value. Extensive training and mentorship, which I didn't really know what value to put on this. I'll be totally honest. So I'll just put 5,000, maybe more, maybe less. Who knows? I would say, if anything, this is really conservative. And that brings our total value that we're putting into an agent to $187,764 a year. Before I jump to the next slide, Julian, is there any other words you want to say on this slide?
Not really.
Awesome. So let me talk about what our goal is, because we've talked a lot about, kind of what we're going to be doing in the day-to-day, but let's talk about what our actual goal is. So Julian and I's ultimate goal is we want to sell an insurance company for a $100 million exit in the next 10 years. That's our ultimate goal, right? And so basically, in order to do that, it's not going to be done with 2 people. It's not going to be done with 3 people. It's not going to be done with 10 or 15 people. We're going to need a lot of people, right? And to do that, we're going to need leaders. We're going to need people that are going to be able to run entire divisions, entire sections of a company by themselves. And basically, like, our goal is we want to become like the go-to place where, a senior, they're turning, 60, 65. They're like, oh, I need to get some final expense insurance. Where do I go? Boom. Insurance is the first place that comes to their mind. That's the level that we want to get to, on a level of like a Senior Life, or on the level of like a Lincoln Heritage. Like, we're trying to grow to that level of a company. And to do that, we need a lot of leaders. We need a lot of people. And basically, like, the people that help us build that, we want to be able to give them a slice of the pie. So when we sell that company, they're going to have equity and they're going to get rich too. And ultimately, we can change a lot of families' lives by doing that. And so I throw this in here. There's not like, I'll just be very clear, there's not like a set roadmap or a set plan. We're still very early in the stages, but I just wanted to kind of throw this in there as like, if you're the type of person that's like looking to grow the company long term and is the person that can fill the shoes as a leader, like, there is an opportunity for equity in the future when we ultimately sell this company. But again, to preface, we don't like, there's not like in writing, like, once you hit this, this, and this, we're going to like, we're not at that level yet, but this is something that we are ultimately striving for in the future. And this is what will happen in the agency.
And just to be clear, very
clear,
this is stuff that we're working on. This is not something that like we'll be badgered about. Right. Because like, when you start bringing value to the table, that's when you can start creating value for a company. It's not an offer that you receive before you create the value for that situation. Like, I don't get paid before I actually serve my client. And so I saw this in a book it's called The 9-Figure Mindset. I got from a gentleman that is in the industry with us. And there was a guy that got in with him. His name was Mason. He was making $80,000 a year working part-time in college. It's crazy. And so he was killing it. And he ended up taking a salary for $41,000 with a gentleman that promised him equity. And they ended up selling that company for multiple 9 figures. So like a couple $100 million, if I remember correctly. And that guy ended up getting a massive slice of the pie. And at the time, he was pissed off because he only got the $41,000 salary to begin with. But literally, like, less than 12 months later, he got his dream car, and he had ownership in the company and did all those things. So while this is something that we're working on, I did want to make it clear this is not going to be up for negotiation. I just want to make that very clear. Just because we don't want to make promises we can't keep to you guys. And so while we are going to make promises that we can keep, we just don't want to like try and sell you a dream that somebody else is more than likely going to be willing to do. And that's just because we want to be fully transparent with you guys. And if that's something that takes your interest off the table at this time, cool, totally get it. but we just want to make sure that we're not misleading anyone because we're tired of seeing that shit in this industry. And I'm just pardon my French, but I just wanted to keep it real.
100%. And so with that being said, stacking the value one more time, unlimited leads, $10,000 in value, the free CRM system, $497 a month in value, the multi-line dialer, $150 a month in value, the extensive training and mentorship. We're talking day-to-day, one-on-one training, being trained like an elite level sales rep and being part of a Navy SEALs team of insurance producers, $5,000 a month in value, and growth and equity opportunities if you are that type of person that's really going to push for it and ultimately be a leader in the company. I didn't know what value to put on that, so I just put infinite value. I didn't add that to the total value per year, but that ends up being $187,764 a year. And this is what I could fit on the page. There's probably other things I'm not thinking of, but we're going all in on the agents we bring in. So you guys are probably wondering, I'm sure this question is just bursting through your eyeballs as you're watching this. Like, what is the comp? Like, you guys are, what is this, like a 15% deal? Like something stupid. So I'll kind of touch on that. So we basically, when we were creating this model, creating this idea for a company, we basically had two choices. And the first option is what a lot of people do. And this is kind of what I call competing on price, right? We could go out and we could try and have the highest comp that we could possibly give, which, at our level would be, I don't know, like 100 plus, whatever it is, which would basically mean we'd have to build an MLM and offer very, very little support. Meaning we wouldn't make any money on the agent. So we would basically just have to recruit bodies. We could blast something to our email list and just, try to compete on comp and be like, hey, come join us, whatever. And just basically build an MLM, recruit more people, and just basically be one of the same that's everyone in this industry. And the second option was we could basically have slightly lower comp, but in exchange, we could devote more resources to the agent's success, really invest in the agent, really invest in creating a closer model, and basically create something different from anything that exists in the insurance industry today, right? And ultimately, we decided to go with the second option. And like when I say investing and creating something completely different, I'm talking like we're going to be producing content about insurance to create higher quality, warm inbound leads. We're going to be eventually doing national branding. Like we're really serious about growing and scaling this to like a national brand. And we can't do that if we're just trying to compete on price and just building another MLM that, off sells the world and doesn't deliver it. So we basically had those two options. We decided to go with the second option.
Wait, Tim, we're not building a massive MLM that's going to pillage the village and recruit everyone's friends and family?
No, we're not pulling anybody from the laundry room, as you said earlier. So with that being said, what is it worth to you guys to never have to buy leads again? And I want you to seriously ask yourself that, right? What is it worth to you to have the ability to write your own paychecks? And that's with no risk, no lead investment, no softwares, none of that stuff, all just pure profit. Is it worth $5,000 a month? Is it worth $10,000 a month? Is it more? Like, what would it be worth to you to be an insurance closer? And before I kind of jump into that, I just want to ask, like, is this all making sense to you guys so far? Are you guys following along? Do you guys, maybe you don't agree with our logic. Maybe you're like, yo, you guys should have just started an MLM. Like, I would have just jumped on board. I would have been all in on it. But, maybe you're thinking that, maybe not. But, I just want to kind of, temp check. Are you guys feeling this? Does this make sense? What do you guys think so far?
And guys, we are going to save, I think we have a few minutes at the end here for Q&A. Tim,
yeah,
I want to respect your time also and everyone else's time on here, of course. But I think we are going to answer some questions here at the end because we did get pounded with questions. We do want to make sure we get to you guys. We just want to make sure that we are going to cover everything so that, again, you can make an informed decision. But yeah, I just wanted to make that clear because we're not ignoring everyone in the comments. Just wanted to make sure you guys know.
100%.
But I think cool. Well,
so yeah, when we were going towards this, like we basically we did a market analysis and we looked at what other people were doing, right? And some agencies, they'll give you no support, no leads, 25% comp. I'm not going to name names, but you guys can do your research and find them. All right, well, let's not do that. That sounds like a nightmare. Other agencies, they'll give you crazy high comp. These are the compete on price people, the MLMs. But at the end of the day, they just try and scam you by selling you age leads that have been sold a million bajillion times over.
And now they're slashing comp.
Yep. Yep. So we were like, all right, well, we don't want to do that. And then there were other agencies out there that
I think you went back.
skip it. No, somehow it didn't show up. But yeah, I mean, there were other agencies out there that were, paying a measly tiny fee per application you sell. You don't get any upside on the sides of the policy, while they take home the lion's share. We're like, all right, that doesn't really make sense. We don't want to do that. And so again, one more time, unlimited leads, free CRM system, blah, 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 blah. You guys get it. You can see why that would be a good deal at 30% commission, right? 30% comp. But we decided for the first 2 agents that we hire, the first 2 people that we bring on, we'll be offering 50% starting commission, right? And so that's going to be the comp, 50% comp with the unlimited leads, the free CRM system, the multi-line dialer, the extensive training and mentorship, and the growth and equity opportunities, and the ability to basically train one-on-one and, sell alongside Julian and really be on the ground floor of this thing. So with that being said, I'm going to post the link. Actually, before I post the link to apply, actually, I'll go ahead and post it. I'm going to post this down below for you guys. But before you guys, go ahead.
I was going to say, I also want to make something else clear, guys. With how much we are investing into an agent here, this is not this has driven me crazy about our industry for way too long. For way too long, people have come into this industry and they've either been neglected or whatever it is, which is most of us, and they didn't get the development that they needed in their personal, professional, and financial life, right? And those are the other half. These are the people that don't show up for themselves, right? And you can't always tell who those people are. But as you know, with how much we're investing into a single agent, right? That's a single agent every single year, year over year over year over year over year. If you're not producing, this is not a type of opportunity where you can show up, stick around, and show up to meetings once a month. And hey, you're a little cheerleader that hangs out in the Navy SEALs. If you show up once a week or once a month to come work, either your guys are going to end up dead, or you're going to end up dead, or you're going to get kicked out. And so for everyone that wants to be a part of SEAL Team and Zoosurance, if you will, right? Then you're going to be showing up day to day, like actually working consistently. This is a full-time gig, right? We're going to be putting in at least 40 hours. You don't need to be putting in 120-hour work weeks. I mean, we're not on that. So, just keep in mind, this is a full-time opportunity. There are no part-timers. There is no part-time. We cannot invest into someone part-time. It's nothing against you if that's all you can commit to it. But this just is not that opportunity. And we don't want to take time away from your valuable life or anything, or take time away from who needs to truly be invested in to see success with an opportunity like this to make 6 figures, in the name of recruiting. So just to be very clear again, we will have to let people go if it's not a profitable endeavor for us, because this is like any other business. We're building this more like a traditional business. If you're working at United Healthcare and you're not showing up to work and you're not making money for the company or for yourself, they just have to let you go. And that's just the way the business works. So because we're investing in you, I wanted to make that clear, because you can't get fired from most of these places, but you can get fired here because we're in the business of making sure that you're going to be the top of your performance, and we want to be there with you. But for the people that don't fit into that community, we don't want to water it down and make it into something that it isn't.
Yeah, no, 100%. And going off of that, a word of warning, this opportunity is it's not for everybody, right? So we're really looking for a specific type of agent. And let me kind of touch on what that agent is. And basically our core values at our company, right, is there's basically 5 of them. Number 1 is doing the boring work, right? So on the agent level, that's making the dials, investing in your sales skill set, really just showing up, doing the training, role-playing the objections, role-playing the script, studying the script, mastering that down to a T, right? That's the boring work. The sexy work is jumping from opportunity to opportunity. I'm going to do this shiny object, whatever. And that's what most people end up doing. But our culture as a company is we really just live and breathe the boring work, because that's ultimately what moves the needle. So if you're someone that, maybe you don't love doing the boring work, but you can make yourself love it, right? Mike Tyson said being disciplined is doing the things you hate, but doing them like you love. Then, maybe that's a maybe that's a good fit. But if not, if you're like, hey, I'm just trying to find the next shiny object, that's fine. Maybe this is not a good fit for you, right? And the second thing is competitive excellence, right? Like this is ultimately, it's a team, it's a sales team. And so to be on the sales team, you do have to make the cut. We're looking for people that are just have a relentless drive to win. They want to crush the competition. They want to be the best, and they want to provide for their family. And so we really like live and breathe competitive excellence.
To be,
And Julian, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, just to even dive a little bit deeper into the competitive excellence, if you listen to a lot of the Navy SEAL guys, like Jocko Willink or David Goggins or a lot of these guys, a lot of times it's not that they never want to quit, because the work is hard. Doing the boring work is tough, right? Being at competitive excellence of all times is tough. It's not easy, right? It's not that you don't want to ring the bell. It's that you choose not to despite wanting to ring the bell, right? So when shit gets hard and you are like, dude, I don't know if I can do this, then at that point, like, you just keep doing it. That's competitive excellence. It's not like, damn, dude, well, I don't love the boring work, so I'm not going to do that, right? Like, no, that's not it. It's like, hey, I don't love the boring work, but I'm going to do it anyways because I have the character trait and core value of competitive excellence. Just 100%.
And then unwavering integrity, right? Like we're only going to work with people that have the utmost integrity. Like we're not looking to work with people that are going to, churn policies and do all kinds of stuff. Like you really have to be a person that just lives and dies by your word. And we're not really willing to work with people that are doing shady stuff in the industry or have vector hits or all the chargebacks with carriers. Like we want people with unwavering integrity who are going to treat our clients with the utmost, utmost quality of service and everything else. The next one is see problems, seek solutions. So what this basically means is like whenever you have an obstacle, instead of just flailing your arms and freaking out like, oh my God, there's a problem, you're going to seek the solution. So, instead of looking at a barrier as a thing you can't overcome, you're looking at a way to overcome it. And that's like, ultimately, that's what drives the needle forward and allows, you to move forward as a person and us to move forward as a company is having that, problem solving attitude. And the last one is extreme ownership, right? And this comes down to like, if you don't take responsibility for your own actions, that means your failures and your successes and your failures, right? Like you are responsible at the end of the day. If you tried at a different IMO and it didn't work out, well, circumstances suck. But at the end of the day, it's like, if you're not pointing the finger back at yourself and saying, hey, maybe I should have done more research. Maybe I might have gotten screwed by an MLM, but did I do enough due diligence before jumping in? If you're the type of person that's just, oh, woe is me, I just got totally screwed and just bent over backwards and hung from a bridge. Like, it's not my fault at all. It's not my fault at all. We're looking for the people that whenever a poor circumstance happens to them, they're trying to figure out how they could be better to avoid it. And that's basically ultimately what I'm saying with that.
That also applies to leads. I wanted to just basically kind of double down on extreme ownership. That also applies to leads. So for me and anyone that I'm in business with, granted, nobody's perfect. You will have moments of weakness. You will not always be the picture perfect of the core values. I know I am not perfect. Tim's not perfect, and we don't claim to be. But we do try to live by these core values. And in the event that I had a lady earlier today, lay down. Like I was talking to her, she had been quoted at the lowest at $94 a month for 10,000. My rates were coming back at $60 a month. I'm like, this is a lay down. Like this is no brainer city. You know what I mean? And she hangs up on me right after I quote her and she says, oh, I can do that. I'm like, great. Let me get this application started for us. You wanted to apply for the 10,000 you said? And I just hear like something in the background, hangs up on me. Call her back, no answer. Call her back, no answer. Call her back later, no answer. Call her back later, no answer. Now, a lot of people would say, these leads, that lady, she wasn't a serious. It doesn't matter. How can you be better? What could you have said differently? What could you do? How could you make more calls to put yourself in a position to not have to even worry about that? And we'll cover the leads part of getting more people in front of you to make sure that that isn't becoming a problem where you're like in this scarce mindset, but you have to be owning your own actions, because if I lose a deal for any reason, even if it's something as simple as how I started the conversation, how they hung up on me because I started the conversation, even if it's not my fault, like people, you could put 100 people around me, they're all like, that wasn't his fault. I'm still like, what could I have done better? How can I be better? Because if you approach it that way, instead of being a victim of your own circumstances, now you can take charge and create the life that you want. And if you're not, you just find solutions to those problems, and it becomes super easy to just dominate life at a high level, because now it's like, oh, well, that lady wasn't able to close her. What could I do in my sales skills and my sales process to be better? How can I improve? Okay, I'll try this next time. I'll try that next time. And all of a sudden now you're closing 1, 2, 3 deals a day. And who knows, we might get up to 4, 5, 6, or 7 a day. You never know what this opportunity could yield. But we started off not doing a deal a day, and we've gotten there with the mindset of extreme ownership. So I just wanted to put that out there. I'm seeing that there are some numbers dwindling off. So I hope that the ones that are still watching this, you guys sound like the winners. For those of you that have jumped off, thank you for being observant of your own time and our time, and not trying to apply to something that is not for you. But here are some of the agents that we want, right? These are the people that we want to align ourselves with to make everyone rich, right?
Yeah.
This is not a hype up, sign up, recruit guy at the top, makes all the money, sells you leads, and then gets overrides when you go hungry. We want people who have hunger for learning, right? That's like, I'm reading 2 books right now, right? 2 different books. One's about marketing and sales. One's about leadership and building a business. Those are 2 things that are both very relevant to me. And I need to be soaking in information to be able to develop people, right? Matt, we just saw your comment. Hell yeah, dude. We're excited to get to know you a little bit better. But sales ability, you may not have sales ability at a high level. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I don't know, but we are going to develop that with you. And that's where that hunger for learning is going to come in if you don't already have it. But being willing to be humble, being willing to be wrong is also coupled with honesty and integrity. Sometimes you have to be honest with yourself, and you have to have the integrity to understand, like, holy shit, I was not right in that situation. That feedback may not have felt great because it's the way you've always done something. But in this scenario, in this business, we are fluid, right? I have to accept that I'm not perfect, and sometimes I'm going to be wrong. Tim has to accept that he's not perfect, and sometimes he's going to be wrong. And we're going to find solutions to problems that are going to help us to grow this company fast, so that for the people that are getting in, like, once we figure out what that slice of the pie looks like, we're all having a good slice of the pie, right? And so those are some of the things. I don't want to dominate the screen here. I'm going to let Tim jump on the second half of this list, but I wanted to touch on those because those are important to me, especially since we'll be working together a lot, literally every single day. If you are in the field with me, being a Zoosurance SEAL, if you will.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, like, with this being a telesales thing, like, you have to be competent with technology. Like, we can't work with a person who can't figure out Zoom. And like, this is no shade to somebody like that, but like, it's like it's a fast-paced environment. You have to be able to figure out technology. You can't be, you don't have to be like a freaking, coder or whatever. I'm not that by any means, but like, you have to be competent with CRMs, technology. Like, if we're having to, oh my God, this guy can't figure out the CRM, like, it's not going to work. I'll just be totally honest. So if you're that person, it's probably not the best fit. I mean, we'll please consume our free content. We're happy to offer you value in other ways, but we're looking for somebody that is competent with technology and can figure things out on their own. Currently licensed, right? So if you're not licensed right now, then obviously you wouldn't be able to sell insurance. So if you're not licensed, then we wouldn't be able to help you there. Maybe in the future, we'll start bringing on non-licensed agents, but for now, we're looking for people that are already licensed. If you're tired of buying leads, right? Like, maybe like the agent we're looking for is already seeing some success, but they're kind of getting burnt out. They can sell a policy, but they're just not really making the money they want to make. And that's ultimately like the optimal person for us. Like, we can take you to that next level if you're not seeing the success you want to see, but you already kind of have some momentum. Someone who's looking for the training and mentorship to just push them over the edge and looking to work full time, right? Like, we can't do part time at the moment. I see Steve just commented. that he would have to do part-time. Steve, we love you, man. You've been awesome in our interactions. But yeah, I mean, if that's not a good fit, no worries, no harm, no foul. And same thing to anyone else that can only work part-time.
Yeah, and apply down the road if you'd like. Totally like we're not going anywhere. We're going to change this industry. But yeah, we just can't offer that to you. It wouldn't be fair to either of us in the relationship.
100%.
So just wanted to touch on that, but feel free to apply later, please, if you'd like.
Yeah, no doubt. And I mean, don't apply if you have vector hits or chargeback debt, are not coachable. So if you're like the know-it-all kind of guy, like I'm not seeing success, but I know why. Like if you're that guy and aren't really willing to listen to feedback, I mean, it's just going to be, it's not going to work.
Tim, nobody's buying, but I've been doing sales I'm the best salesperson in the world, but nobody's buying.
Yeah, exactly. I know sales. That's not a problem. That guy, maybe not. Not tech savvy enough to use a CRM and Zoom, looking for the part-time work, or not currently licensed. But if you do match the criteria that we just overviewed and outlined, then please feel free to click the link below the video and apply to work with us. So I'm going to post that link one more time. And as I'm doing that, I just want to let you guys know, if you have applied and have not heard back, let me kind of outline what our plans are moving forward. So essentially what we're looking to do is we want to bring on 2 reps by the end of the month. So basically, if you applied in the last, day or two and you haven't heard back, the reason why is because, we've hosted this live stream. We're basically going to conduct a bunch of interviews and pick out the 2 people that we're most confident in from the very beginning. If you don't get picked on the first go around, that doesn't mean that you'll never work with us. It doesn't mean you won't get picked eventually. It just means that you're not, of the candidates we have, you're not on the top 2. But basically, as we start to grow this thing, as we start to scale it, we're going to be coming back to this pool of applicants that are quality to bring more people in and bring more people on. But basically, from the list of applicants, we're looking for 2. So basically, if you meet our criteria for an interview, we'll send you an email for an interview probably in the next couple of days here. And basically, I'll be conducting interviews for the next few weeks here. By the end of the month, we'll figure out who we want to bring on. The 2 people, we'll bring them on, see how they're doing, right? And then basically, once we kind of have, a little bit of data, a little bit of like a benchmark for the first 2 people, we'll come back to that list and we'll start bringing more people on. So that's ultimately our plan. One thing as well that I do want to mention is states. So we are currently, let me see what I have. Let me see.
While you're pulling that up,
yeah,
I also wanted to say one thing. This is kind of a vulnerable moment for me. I haven't really shared this with a lot of you guys, but before I jump into me, Tom Brady was not the first draft pick. Michael Jordan got cut from his team. Everybody that's ever been successful didn't make it. I'm first gen here in my family, grew up in a single parent household. Literally every reason not to make it, didn't have great grades, didn't really do much of anything in school, literally had every reason not to see success in business. There's no reason that I should be successful. I'm not a college graduate. My dad didn't go to college. There's every reason I shouldn't be successful. Just wanted to say, if you don't get picked on the first time, it's okay. Don't take that personally. It's not personally, right? It's not personal at all, but keep applying. If you are serious and persistent with anything, whether it's getting a sale, applying for a job, applying to work with a new startup that's going to be offering equity in the future, keep applying. Persistence pays off. And I just wanted to make that abundantly clear because we have limited I only have limited hours in the day that I can invest into the first few producers, and I want to make sure I can actually invest into you guys as people, because you're not just a number, you're not just a recruit, you actually matter. Your kids matter, your wife and husband matter, your family matters. I want to give you my all, and I expect your all, which is why we're so serious about how much we're investing, and also why we're so serious about not keeping people who aren't going to put their all into this. But I just wanted to make that super, super clear. I've not made the cut for things in the past, right? And in that scenario, I held my head high, moved on, came back harder than ever. And so I just wanted to say that real quick because I know a lot of people in this society are conditioned to not be comfortable with rejection, but rejection just means that next time you got to be better, or there's something that you could do differently that could get you accepted next time. So just wanted to put that out there real quick because that's something that's been super helpful in my life. Because again, I had every reason not to be successful, and just sheer persistence got me to where I'm at. Right. So if you guys are all in on yourselves and all in on this, I promise you'll be successful unless you literally just give up. So as long as you don't ring the bell, you can be successful. And if you did apply and you don't get approved, I just wanted to put that out there. Because I only have so many hours in a day. But
100%.
if we could save every agent, we would, right? But it's not possible. So,
And I just added here the list of states that we're selling in. Julian, are you doing much in Florida, or would we take that off of the list?
we're probably going to take that off the list.
Okay. So basically, because that's what's been asked, what is the cost? The only investment that you would have as the agent is basically just bringing the licenses. So we would want you to have Arizona, California, Colorado, Maryland, Michigan, North Carolina, South Carolina, Texas, and Virginia.
And we
So
are
as
going
long
to
as you have,
a little bit onto the West Coast more.
yeah, we'll probably just because like we haven't seen the best results in Florida, to be honest. So if you have a license in Florida, that's not a problem, but we probably won't be getting as many leads in there just because we haven't had as much success. Maybe we'll see how it goes a little bit longer, but just with onboarding and bringing on new agents, the process it takes to get Florida, we haven't really seen the return that I think would be worth complicating bringing people on in Florida. So we might take that off and add another one, but basically like the only thing you would be responsible for is just having the licenses, which I wish I had an exact estimate for what it would cost to get these. Maybe like what do you think, Julian, to get those licenses?
I know
As a
Virginia's like
producer.
$30. Virginia's like $30. I think South Carolina's around $30. North Carolina's around 50, I think it is. Texas was like 60, I think. Maryland, I think, was like maybe 80. Michigan was like 30. Colorado, I think, was a little more expensive. I think Colorado was like maybe 80 or 100.
So all told, you're probably looking at maybe $500.
Yeah, you're looking at maybe about $500. But the resident, like if you get a state license, it's like a lot easier than it's like you don't have to buy it twice like a lot of people do with corporations. So if you guys are like researching that on your own time, just make sure you're doing it as an individual, not as a corporation, because corporation licenses are pricey. For everyone asking about Florida, we just haven't seen the return on investment that
we have no idea.
Yeah,
we have no idea. There's so many seniors there. I don't know, but
yeah,
it's like for the headache that it takes to go into getting someone licensed in Florida with all the extra fingerprints and stuff. If we're not seeing as high as a return, what'd you say?
I said if you're out of state, because like I noticed that both Arthur and Michelle are resident state. You guys don't have to worry about the headache that out of staters do. So it's not that like if you're licensed in Florida, not a problem. It's just it's probably something that we aren't going to like sell a lot in moving forward. But if your resident state is there, that's not good. There's no conflict. There's no issue. That doesn't create any disconnects or anything. It's totally fine. It won't discard your application. It's just a state that has not overall been very good to us like the other ones have. So just putting that out there. But yeah, $500 to $600 in state licenses potentially, and somewhere in there, I think. And if you already have some, that makes it easier on you.
100%. And yeah, if you guys are going to the page, the application page, there's basically a video that like outlines everything. If you've watched this live, you don't really need to watch that. It's basically just kind of outlining the same thing. And at the end of that video, I talk about 30-point comp. That was what we were going to start with, but we kind of, decided it would be, we decided we wanted to do 50 instead for the first few people that start off, and maybe it'll be 30 in the long haul, but at the very least for the first few people, we're going to start at 50. So just wanted to clear that up in case anyone watched the end of that video and was like, oh, I thought you said 50. Why is it 30? That's why.
Cool. So
yeah,
Q&A, couple questions, and then yeah, if you guys have a couple questions here, I'm probably gonna have to jump off, eat soon, and this one a little longer than I expected. So I know we had a lot of questions.
Phones.
Yeah, let me know if you guys have questions. Now is the time. If you guys have questions about anything from working directly with me, or just anything at all, let me know. Medicare in the future, undecided, probably not. But You never know what the future holds. So now undecided, final expenses, what we're committed to. But if anything changes, we'll obviously let everyone know. I would not base your decision on coming here if you are trying to be a Medicare producer off of potentially doing Medicare here in the future, because that may never happen. Annuities in the future, probably not. If anything, we would have like a specialist that did annuities with like a referral split, like Symmetry does.
Yeah, I think ultimately, like, if you're trying to make the most money as an agent in an agency, really narrowing out on one thing is really valuable. Just because you can specialize, like we can be the best at final expense instead of being mediocre at 5 things.
Mm-hmm.
So that's our thoughts on that. But what other questions do you guys have? I know it's like 9 p.m. here on the East Coast. We're probably gonna have a bunch of West Coasters coming in late
West Coast
after.
All right, guys. We're gonna leave it open for questions. 2 more minutes. What is that? Is that you, Tim?
It's a train. It's a
okay.
train.
Would you be captive? No, Michelle, not to start. You would not be captive. All of the carriers would need to be with us, but you would own the book. This is something that we are evaluating just for how much we are investing into the producers, just because of like the risk that we hold there.
Yeah. So just to clarify, like if you let's say for example, you joined and then sold and then left, you wouldn't be able to like replace that business. We would technically own the clients. But like you wouldn't be like captive to a point where you could only write one carrier. We're going to have a bunch of different carriers. Cal asked about the carriers, Julian. What are the main carriers you're writing right now?
Main carriers that I write are SBLI, Mutual of Omaha, Aetna, Royal Neighbors of America. Sometimes I'll write American Amicable. I read a ton of Great Western. For like that's my guaranteed issue carrier. Like I say a ton because if I ever do guaranteed issue plans, it's going to be through them. I don't really write AIG ever. We'll probably end up adding them just to have that option there. But I had some issues with them in the past that I just haven't written them, to be honest. Americo is a company that we write if they can't get approved like anywhere else. And then there's one more, I think. Baltimore Life, if they can't get approved anywhere else. And then like we've got like a few backup carriers. Like if they can't get approved anywhere else, like we'll write them. But our main carriers are Aetna or SBLI, Mutual of Omaha, Aetna, and Royal Neighbors.
Yep. All good. I see Preston asked, what about the core CRM and other things? Yeah, I mean, none of that stuff is like, we're not stopping any of that. We don't have any plans to like close any of that stuff out.
Tim, Michelle asks about the residual. And this is a lot, like some of the more like nitty gritty stuff we can cover in interviews if we do like a callback. I don't know if you want to cover that, Tim, because I know that's kind of getting in the weeds because it's different for every carrier. Everything's different with each individual company.
Yeah, that would be more of like an interview question, to be honest, just because like it would depend on the carrier and everything like that.
Yeah. And so let's see. Are there any other questions? I know we're about to wrap it up here. We've got time for like 2 more. Any other questions that would come up? You guys feel free to shoot us an email at our email if you want to drop one down below, Tim. And then any other questions would be done over the interview. And yeah, Michelle, because every carrier is different. It's also different for like if you do guaranteed issue versus like day one. So comp Susie is 50%. Fun question, dream car, Tim and Julian. Tim, what's your dream car?
Good question.
It's a great question.
I mean, like crazy aspirational or like more like likely. I would say like
don't say
within
realistic. Anything's realistic.
Huh?
I said don't say realistic or likely. Anything.
I mean, I'm talking about like to be honest with you, I'm not like crazy into cars, so I don't know like a bunch of them off the top of my head. I think like an all blacked out Mercedes is pretty cool. That's not like a freaking supercar or anything crazy, but like a Mercedes C-Class. But I don't know. I honestly really like SUVs. I just like being in like a bigger car. I feel safer. So I mean, like if there was like a dope And if anyone says the Cybertruck, I'm just gonna boot you off of the live because that thing is ugly as all get out.
So ugly.
And they don't even have door handles, so that's the stupidest thing ever. But like, if there was like a badass, cool electric pickup truck that was fast, like if Tesla did a electric pickup truck, but like didn't like do Elon Musk's wet dream, and I think that's what the Cybertruck was, and that would probably be my dream car. But I would say for now, probably like a blacked out like Mercedes sedan, or like this is gonna be weird, like a Tahoe. Tahoe would be sick.
Tahoes are sick. I would go for a matte black Mercedes, all blacked out. I might even
just copy me, bro. What the hell?
It's just a real AMG. I might even go so bold as to throw on like one of those yellow racing stripes with a little thin stripe on the side next to it.
Blacked out Ferrari would be cool too.
Ferraris are awesome. Those would be probably my top two. Tahoe is cool. That's like to carry the kids around though. So Michelle said,
not at a train station.
Yeah,
it's not the 1800s anymore. No, I'm downtown in Greensboro, North Carolina, and there's like I'm in a co-working space, and then like right by that, like past that wall, is train tracks. So it gets pretty loud at some points.
Guys, I know it's getting late for everybody. You guys are all awesome. Is there any one more question? I know we just talked about Mercedes and Chevys for a second, so we're closing it out here. If there's one more question, I know some people are just jumping on and off, like to get back in if they got disconnected. If there's one last question,
order my kava order real quick while we're waiting for this question.
Supermarket luck all. See you at the top.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Tim, I knew you were going to say the same thing as me, dude. We hang out too much.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff.
Thanks, Michelle. Appreciate you hopping on here.
Yeah.
You guys eat kava? Have you guys ever had kava? Kava is fire. It's like Chipotle, but Mediterranean food, and it's better than Chipotle and cheaper. So I'm placing a to-go order right now. Let's go pick that up. But yeah, I don't think we got any more questions, so I'll give it like 30 more seconds, and then we can jump off here. I always hate ending the lives, to be honest. I get sad.
I just feel like such a dick because I know that there's like every time it's happened, there's one person that'll jump on at the very end, and they're like, "My question never got answered." Sad face. I'll like go back and see the old comments, and they'll be like, "I never got answered."
Yeah, for real.
Hell yeah, Matt. Yeah, we'll see you at the top, my friend.
Cool. Well, I don't think we got any other questions. So appreciate you all hopping on. Thanks to all 30 of you guys that stayed to the end. And we look forward to working with a percentage of you guys and, growing and doing everything together. So thank you guys all so much. Is there an option for 100% commission? No, there is not. We're doing this model like the one that we described. So thank you all so much for jumping on. That is going to wrap up the live stream. I'm going to go get some food.
Me
and
too.
I'll post that link to apply one more time for those of you guys.
Preston, if you want to get support with the CRM, you can use the CRM, the chat. It's under the question mark, chat support. If you want to get support on any of if you are doing like the self-generating stuff, you can go to the Facebook group that's linked in the course. But yeah, hopefully that was helpful. So we'll catch you guys later. Thanks for tuning in, and you guys have a good one. We'll see you.
Take care. See y'all. Appreciate you showing up.